in cash and high-end electronic equipment. Wilkins' accomplice, Megan Moodley, has been charged with manufacturing and distributing child pornography and money laundering. Since their arrest, the couple has been in police custody after being denied bail. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News.
DA leader John Steenhuisen says he will have no say as to whether the party's federal chairperson, Helen Zille, will run for mayor in Johannesburg. Having already announced its mayoral candidate for Nelson Mandela Bay, Steenhuisen says the party plans to reveal its other candidate soon as it looks to get started on its local government election campaign, particularly in the metros. Zille's candidacy has set tongues wagging, but Steenhuisen says she'll have to compete for the job just like everyone else. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
While some might think it's time for Helen Zille to throw in the towel on politics, the former Cape Town Mayor and Western Cape Premier is looking to get stuck into the problems in the city of Johannesburg. DA leader John Steenhuisen says Zille's future role will be determined by a selection panel which does not include him.
The party can't endorse any candidate until the process is completed. There is a fair and open process. The candidates will be interviewed. They will have to do a presentation on their plan to turn Joburg round.
Steenhuisen believes the party's participation in the government of national unity has shifted the DA's brand and will improve its prospects of emerging as the largest party in several metros.
So we are planning to take over in Joburg and Tshwane. And I think that voters are seeing now more increasingly that splitting your vote amongst all these smaller parties has led to the merry-go-round that is Johannesburg.
Steenhuisen himself is yet to decide whether he will be vying to lead his party into the next elections, with the party set to elect a new leader in April. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
7 suspects in Durban alleged to be part of a syndicate linked to issuing fake passports will return to court today. The Hawks arrested the group over the weekend. It's alleged that they conducted their operation between February 2020 and July 2023. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The accused will return to the Durban Specialized Commercial Crimes Court today to have legal representative appointed and to apply for bail. The state alleges one of the accused, a former Home Affairs official, worked with the syndicate in the processing of fraudulent passports. They face charges of fraud, contravention of the Identification Act, diverse contravention of the Immigration Act, and corruption. The crimes are alleged to have taken place after business hours, in the evenings, over the weekends, and public holidays. The NPA says the fraudulent passports were issued to undeserving foreign nationals. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And Israel's military says it has struck dozens of targets in Tehran overnight, including what it calls a center for the research and development of Iran's nuclear weapons project. It has killed more than 200 Iranians since it started attacking their country based on unsubstantiated claims of a nuclear threat. Iran has fired back, killing more than 20 people in Israel. European foreign ministers will hold talks with their Iranian counterparts later today, hoping to reach a diplomatic solution to the war. Gold is trading at $3,344.97 an ounce. The rand is at 18.02 to the dollar, 24.28 to the pound, 20.76 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $76.77 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Midrand, we still have got heavy traffic volumes along the N1 North. That's between Allendale Road and Olifantsfontein Road due to a major accident seen there. Please be on the lookout. There's also queuing traffic in the southerly direction of this highway approaching New Road, while travelling in Kempton Park. Bumper-to-bumper traffic along the R21 South between Olifantsfontein Road and the R23.
A fine Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees today. The top story in EWN this hour. A couple accused of operating a global network of child sexual abuse material will be back in the Randburg Magistrates Court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk through history, walk with it. Sunday, 27 July, 7:02 Walk the Talk. Hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. More on primemediaplus.com.
7:02
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Good morning. Good morning to you all. Good morning. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. 6 minutes past 9. Tshidi Madia in for Clement. I'll be with you until 12. It is the Friday edition, the Feel Good Friday edition. We've made it to the end of the week. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're grateful. I hope you've hit some high notes, some successes this week. And if you want to share them with us, we're more than happy to hear. We're more than happy to cheer you on and to celebrate your big wins. There's lots coming up on the show. We will have Friday features. We'll have Across the Desk at 10 o'clock. We've got Motorsports. That's our focus. Motorsport racers will be joined in studio by Mika Abrams and Sia Chabalala. Found out a little bit more about what it means to participate in motor racing in the motorsports field. And then at 11 o'clock, of course, it's Adult Radio. It's a relationship focus. We'll be speaking about micro cheating. Have you ever heard of the phrase? How do you spot it? How do you prevent it? All of that between 11 and 12. And of course, we start the show with the open line where you and I can raise whatever topic. I know I run the risk of being accused of running a Floyd Shivambu series, but it can't be avoided, right? You can't avoid talking about Floyd Shivambu after yesterday. So I'm going to give you my 5 cents. I want to hear your take as well. 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. Let's chat.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Whew. Where does one even begin when you think about Floyd Shivambu's media briefing yesterday? I think I got some things right. I did say, hey, political party. But anyway, so he had that media briefing yesterday in Midrand. There was lots of speculation about what is he going to do. Is this the end for Floyd Shivambu, the beginning of the end? And I think some people are still trying to grapple with what it means. It was a relatively lengthy media briefing. He was going to tell it all. I wasn't surprised. I did say he'll speak about what led to his demotion in the Umkhonto with Sizwe party. So here's my take. Okay. One, the political party that we said he's going to form, he's definitely forming. What that is for me, yeah, we're going to consult all over the country because that's what he said. They're going to go hear people, hear if there is a need for a political party. He says that they're not going to jump into starting a political party. He wants people's opinions about whether or not South Africans want it, that it's not about the South, it's about the people. My take is a political party is a foregone conclusion. We've seen this movie before. You need to go as far back as when Bantu Holomisa was let go of by the ANC. How the UDM came about was a consultative process. How Akhang came about. Akhang is the party political platform. Remember that thing? That's also how Akhang came about. Action SA, they also had a consultation about what the way forward is. Rise Mzansi via Rivonia Circle, if you may, they also had consultations. What's funny, even the EFF, by the way, it didn't just come out of nothing. It was consultations. So for me, that's testing the ground and trying to see where and how you can throw your resources, because we are going to local government. That's the actions of forming a political party. That's what he was telling us. He needed to set ground and foundation. That's what they're working for. Secondly, my other takeaway, Floyd Shivambu spoke about all manner of criminality. I mean, it's quite startling where he says that there's embezzlement, 7 million rand a month leaves the MK party. For me, on this particular score, Floyd should have started at a police station. Before us, he should have gone to a police station. Or after speaking to the country and telling us what's gone wrong in the Umkhonto Sizwe party, this morning, Floyd Shivambu should have gone to a police station. Otherwise, he's complicit. Then he is a part and parcel of all the criminality he claims he saw in his 6 months as the Secretary General of the Umkhonto Sizwe party. So that's a big thing for me. He, in my eyes, if he does nothing about all of this, is an accomplice, is just another criminal. There's nothing more to it for me if he doesn't act on these claims. I said yesterday, his pick in building this party will be of disgruntled EFF people. That's where he thinks he'll be able to build a base. And that's why so much of yesterday was about the EFF. Here it's a cult. Here it's a this, it's a that. A lot of that is a divide and conquer strategy at play. He's literally setting the cat amongst the pigeons. So I think there's paranoia already in the EFF. It'll play to that, and I think that's exactly what he's doing. That thing about how all of us agree that this is not a person in Julius Malema should not be president of the country. All of those claims are not for nothing. And all of those claims, by the way, I don't think are actually void of truth. Some of them did speak about what they thought about their leadership and whether or not it was fit for purpose, and they couldn't agree. Some of them had said that to us, even in the lead up to those elections. So I don't think it's necessarily fault, but I think the reason why he's using it the way that he did is interesting. What else am I missing out? Ooh, the intelligence reports. Okay. So this one was interesting for me because everybody knows the fake intelligence reports are the modus operandi. We've seen it so many times. It's how it was used in the lead up to Polokwane. Think about former President Thabo Mbeki. Think about what happened to crime fighting institutions in the lead up. Think about how it was used to get rid of the late Pravin Gordhan as a finance minister. But no, it doesn't stop there. Even Floyd Shivambu himself and impeached public protector Busiswe Mkhwebane were peddling at some point a fake intelligence report on judicial corruption. So he mustn't act like shock, horror. There's such a thing as a fake intelligence report. He's been part and parcel of co-signing and being part and parcel of all of that. So please don't come at us as if you're speaking to children who don't understand. In fact, let's not insult children. Let's not pretend we don't see what it is. So the hypocrisy of all of that for me is ridiculous. And then the other thing that I think is important to flag, him saying I'm not resigning. He's forcing Zuma's hand. He's forcing Zuma to fire him. And for me, that's aimed at showcasing, exposing Zuma's hypocrisy. My ultimate takeaway is Fikile Mbalula. I'm sure it's Fikile Mbalula who once said, and I can't remember where, but I remember Mbax once saying, you don't entangle yourself with former President Jacob Zuma. You must get stung once, learn your lesson, and never go back. Don't participate in dalliances with the former president. You will be sorry. You'll be very sorry. To me, former President Jacob Zuma used Floyd to deal with Julius because Julius Malema, no matter how you put it, he's never been the same since August 2024. And now he's dealt with Floyd himself. That political brotherhood has absolutely been shattered by former President Jacob Zuma. I think that's important. As I finish my thoughts on this, my 5 cents really on what must happen now, Floyd must go to the police station. I don't have a middle ground for it. Like, you told us there's all manner of criminality happening. Take it to the police. That's what it's got to be dealt with. The other thing, the MKP must fire him immediately. I mean, he's daring you. Stop wasting time. Get over and done with. It should have been done. We should have woken into news that they've expelled him already. And then the other thing that I think is important, his opponents, other political parties, civil society must go back to what Floyd said. Even us, all of us, must go back to what he said yesterday and reach out to the necessary institutions to test all those allegations. I think that's very important to deal with. 011 883 0702 072 702 1702.
For more about 702,
Go to primemediaplus.com.
Coming to your calls now. Jabu in Springs, good morning.
Morning, Tshidi.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yes, I'm bored. Like, Floyd bored me yesterday, right? I think, guys, we are really just wasting time. I feel like sometimes South Africa is really starved of, Greek politicians. Floyd is done for me, colleagues. Because, Tshidi, I'm wondering, he gets there, he badmouths all these organizations, and we're supposed to take you seriously. You're just demonstrating the character of the man and the politician for us, and I really don't understand also Floyd, other than mentioning Floyd and Julius Malema in the same sentence, Tshidi. Where does he get this political capital he thinks he has, this clout? What has Floyd done, guys, in South Africa, in South African politics, other than really moving and climbing the ladder with Julius that he today called?
And said absolutely nothing for 11, 12 years, and then today comes around and complains. I'm like, where was your voice all along? Where was your voice?
And what's funny to your point, and you spot on, Tshidi, right? To say he's calling this committee and he says it's made up of ex-ANC, ex-EFF, ex-MK. It's a political party, guys. Let's not kid ourselves. And I feel like Floyd now understands the system. He's just now trying to obviously maybe do stuff for his retirement in politics in SA. But guys, what has the man done? You know, like quote me something, policies, influence, something is, you know, here's an idea, Floyd. You know, you see Abo Outer, this white civil-based society. Start that, Floyd. You know, start a civil, powerful black one that's also fights for black.
Pick an issue. Pick an issue.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly. Like this guy. So that's just my 2 cents, really.
Thank
but,
you.
Yeah, but
Thank
let's talk about something else.
Thank you, Chabu. I was bored. You know what, Chabu? You and me both, actually. Thank you so much. That's Chabu out in Springs. That's the other thing. Like, our politicians suffer from so much hubris that all of them believe that they can lead. If I can't do it, no one else can. Yeah? There's nothing else. Where's your imagination about what else you can do? That's also a big question for me. Like, why is it that the only other thing to consider is to also start another party? Yeah? Where's your imagination? This is somebody that many have lauded as like a mastermind of sorts. Where is that? Why can't we see it at play? Koketso in the East Rand, hi.
Yes, please, how are you?
Very good. Go on.
Yes, I'm just a bit disturbed about this whole Floyd press conference, because I think for me it's worrying, because what we're witnessing is a fragmentation of the left. You know, where you're going to have like 1 million parties on the left and then like 3 parties on the right. And that's actually not good for our democracy, right? Because what we need now, more than anything, what's missing from, what the offering that voters have, is something that's a mix between
tangible and solid on the left.
What the ANC is offering, what the EFF is offering. And currently now, for me, Floyd, him starting a new political party, it's just a non-starter, because how is he going to be different from what the MK or the EFF is offering, or other parties on the left? It's just simply fragmenting the left vote and just confusing voters more. And I think the person who had suggested this was Professor he said we actually need to look at amending the constitution to cap the amount of parties we have, because it's actually getting really ridiculous now. You know, I think we need to sort of start maturing as a democracy, and we're not going to do it when every single election cycle, every 5 years, we have a new party coming up.
Absolutely.
We need to now almost like stop the parties that are there, and then let people then decide from what is already offered, or let's get something different. Because I always feel like, where is the party that's like a DA but for like African people? Right?
You want more centrist parties, eh? You want more centrist parties that can speak to both. And we're not having that. But it's not a South African problem. Hold on, Kogeto. It's not an SA problem only. When you look for the central posture, look around the world. The rights are on the rise for a reason. There aren't enough people trying to pull center, or even to try and reimagine or re-engineer our politics. There was an attempt at some point. The arrival of Rise Mzansi was meant to be that. But when you look at them, you don't see that. I think they now look like people are trying to bring in some level of seriousness, and I think are getting too consumed by governance in and of itself. So you don't see that anymore. But I take your point. There's lots of calls. I want to try to give everybody an opportunity. Thank you so much. That's Koketso out in the East Rand, my favorite place in the whole wide world. Lesego in Bryanston, hi.
Hi, Tshidi. Floyd, he says he had ambitions to change Mkhonto Sizwe. No, it was political greed. Everyone knew that this was going to happen, except for Floyd, and I'm surprised how. But now, with him starting a political party, yes, Floyd is a political scholar, but I don't think he has the political charm to be able to start a political party and have people follow him. So I think, as the lady before said, I think it's going to be a non-starter. But in this process, what saddens me is the fact that there's no money to fund businesses, startups, but there's always money to fund political parties. So who's losing in this process?
Yeah. Isn't that the tragedy,
the
though?
Black vote, it is a tragedy. The black vote is being dissected, and there is no one singular voice. We obviously will never have a one singular voice speaking for everyone. But if you look at it, political parties are now becoming like churches. There's thousands of them, and once we don't speak in one voice, then we might as well just my value the country.
Close shop. Thank you. That's also out in Bryanston. Lesoko speaking about the thing about like you need an imagination. I mean, to capture people's imagination, rather, you need to have a personality in this country because, unfortunately, that's what a lot of our politics are like. People care about persona and the likes. Benny and Bramfontein, hi.
Hi, Tshidi, how are you?
I'm good. Go on.
Tshidi, yesterday we were abused. I think what happened yesterday was just an abuse of the media fraternity and stuff like that. Let me go to what I want to say. One, it is not in dispute that Floyd is very, very intelligent. He's very, very brilliant. And the only blunder that he is doing right now is for him to think that he can go and form a political party. And today's politics is not about saving the people. It's about saving our pockets, our girlfriends, our deputy girlfriends, our deputy wives, and all those kinds of things. I would have advised Floyd, because politically, from where I'm sitting, he is finished politically. And I would have advised this guy to stop thinking about political party for one reason. He does not have that charisma that Julius Malema has. No single young politician today, including even in the ANC Youth League. The ANC Youth League died when Malema left.
Do we need charismatic politicians, though, actually, Benny? Or do we need politicians who are focused on the actual job at hand? Our country is falling apart. That actually should be the focus. We are stuck on personalities, and I don't think that's helpful.
Yeah, we need Tshidi Madia, people who are not focused on what I will get after 5 years of my term coming to an end. Like
careerist. All right.
I was going to advise him to say, Floyd, go and pursue your because he has a master's degree. Go and pursue your PhD. Become a political analyst. And you do your PhD and stuff like
you must find other things to do. But thank you so much, Penny. Now, political analysts are also views about political analysts. Thank you, Penny Bramfontein. I love the analysts. I have views. Like the political space, like the political journalism space. It's full. Okay, we've got to find other areas as well. Tabison Polokwani Tobela.
No. You see, Tshidi, and I think we must be correct in this way. I don't agree with people that says that because you don't have charisma, therefore you can't form a political party. It's not that they're not there. In this particular country, people vote for each and every individual they see that is appearing on TV. But let's distinguish between howling and charisma. I think people are looking for people who can be able to be on the platform, make noise, insult, and all of that. That's what they call charisma. But there are two things that I've learned with the press conference yesterday, which has proven some of us right. That when we have said that the red people there, it's a cult. We wanted someone internal to be able to prove us that indeed that is correct.
But you say it after you leave. Oh, wow. You said after you leave.
It normally happens. It normally happens with cultists. I mean, you can go to all these churches. Remember, it normally happens with cultists. I can assure you. That
day I was in a cult. Yeah. Anyway.
Look back in when EFF was formed. Where are the Mpora Makatsas and all of that? And many. If you can look in terms of the top 20 of those that were there who formed EFF in all the provinces around, you want to tell me that they are still with the EFF? I can bet that they are no longer there. So now that issue is closed. But you say what is very interesting is what we have said. We have seen the movie of people that goes around, but these people are using it to galvanize and be able to galvanize support on the ground and say no. Who are the people that we can work with on the ground? Because once you say you want to form a political party today and tomorrow you think people will follow you, they are not going to. So you are actually going around seeking individuals who are vulnerable. Some of them are not happy with their own political organization. Some of them would have been denied councillorship. Some of them would have been dismissed as parliamentarians.
He's building his structures. That's what this is. It's not consultation. It's structures. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's Tabiso out of Portugal. Tabiso says only once you've come out of the cult do you then go, I was in a cult. Is that it? I don't know. I'd have greater respect if you are in an organization and you see wrongdoing and you start saying it, I'm probably a pill in the newsroom because now I say things that I think should be said very often. Like, guys, I don't agree. I do it in the media fraternity quite often. Like, we are moving in the wrong direction on this one, colleagues. What are you doing? So you've got to be able to find your voice in order to have some level of respect, I think. And so when somebody like Floyd comes out and speaks the way that he does, I think it's difficult, right? To have respect for the message. The credibility of the messaging is tainted. That's what I think. James in Johannesburg. Hi, you in the Joburg CBD.
Hi, Tshidi, how's it?
Go on.
Tshidi, what's a cult? What is a cult? I mean, this guy from Polokwane, he defined cult in terms of people leaving the EFF. Really? I don't think so, you know? I mean, I can tell you now that I don't agree with, I don't vote for EFF. But I can also concede that Malema is a political superstar. I mean, he's loved. He's an international figure, you know. And then his party held a conference, and then you all saw it. He was elected. You can argue other things that maybe it was not. I don't know what you can do. And the conference was held by people who are very much popular. The lawyers who are in South Africa. So what is a cult? To understand, can you really be an organization for? Hello,
I'm listening to you.
You can always be can you be in an organization, Tshidi, for 11 years and say that Malema is a cult?
You can be in a cult for a lifetime.
But what is a cult, Tshidi? What is a cult? What is a cult? I want to know what is a cult. I mean, people are saying Malema is the EFF is a cult.
But dictator, say it. That's what they say.
What is a cult? I mean, look. There are strong figures in politics. Look at Helen Zille in the DA. She's very strong. You know, I've just finished Tony Leon's book, Being There. He says that he feels that maybe Helen Zille sometimes she overshadows Jane Hazen, but is she a cult? No, she's a strong figure in politics.
Malema is just a strong figure. Yes,
look at Jacob Zuma. You look at Jacob Zuma during corruption.
You know, there have always been questions about internal democracy in the EFF, and that's what Floyd, I think, is trying to allude to.
There is, look, I can tell you there is internal democracy. I see, look at Jimmy Mani. They just came, you know, later in the EFF, they were allowed. They were doing what
they came and they was taken straight to the top.
Yes, I mean, I was listening to
on the back of the very much efforts of people in the EFF who built the party. That's not internal democracy. That's not internal democracy. That's decisions being made at a whim. It's not about the people in the party.
I don't attend EFF. I don't attend EFF's meetings. But I can tell you that when I see EFF people speak, like Abu Kalniaus, when I see Abu Mqiniswaku speaks, I don't think that, you know, they are conditioned, you know, to speak this way or that other way. Because they don't even know what they are going to be asked. So now for me, I'm saying, what is a cult? People must define to us what is a cult. Because, yes, what is a cult?
What is a cult? Yeah, James, you know what?
You can't define a cult by Abu Rabakaza leaving the party.
No, in fact, you've just defined it now by people being conditioned. You say you don't think that they are. I'd argue that there is I'm going to go to news, but let me tell you a quick example. I'm going to make a very quick example where I do think there's a point to be made. You mentioned Mqiniswaku, and I always go back to Mqiniswaku because this was something that bothered me as a journalist. EFF used to say it's ready to govern. Do you remember that phrasing? Government in waiting. Do you remember? Then you've got Mqiniswaku who becomes a Joburg MMC immediately. Now, when you're a Joburg MMC, you serve the residents of Johannesburg. At the time, EFF had an issue with ENCA. So ENCA approaches Mqiniswaku, refuses to interview him. He fails to be discerning enough as an MMC whose job is to serve the residents, to speak about issues of the residents. I go to an EFF briefing and I ask Julius Malema, how would you approach that now that you're in government at local level? And he goes, no, you must speak to them. You represent the public. But his representative couldn't figure that out. Why?
Why?
Look,
it's a position. No, wait, I want to answer you. It's a position that was taken by the political party because of their view of what the ENCA behaved. But now they've kissed and make up, and then
you had to take Malema to say you can go for him to go.
No, but it's a cult for me, because you see, when you say it's a cult, it's like Malema is closing people's mouths; they can't talk. I don't see that. I see I see Kalniaus going there talking about the army things. I see Mqiniswaku working. I see people all over the EFF speaking, to understand. I saw the EFF holding a conference. I saw people being elected. I saw a lady came up and said that, guys, EFF must change. Women must be in position. I don't see any cloud. Malema is sitting there. I don't see a cult. People
You're
don't define
refusing to also.
what is
No,
a cult.
I think you must
What
also
is
have
a cult?
All right, James.
What
man.
is a cult? So, thank you.
James must be honest. No, he's being dishonest. Some of those issues that he's raised, he's being dishonest. That Mcini Truck, for example, stays top of mind for me because that's not what I expect to see of an MMC who's confused about what he ought to do until the leader tells him what to do. That suggests that you're conditioned. So those issues are top of mind for me all the time. It's 9:31. Swiso's got your headlines.
Thanks, Tshidi. Good morning. A couple accused of operating a global network of child sexual abuse material will be back in the Randburg Magistrates Court this morning. Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Megan Moodley were arrested in January this year after being tracked down by the FBI Global Investigation. And another group of SANDF troops has arrived in the country from the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The 258 soldiers landed in Bloemfontein this morning. They have been in North Kivu province since December 2023 for a SADC peacekeeping mission in the DRC. And 34 Nigerian soldiers have been killed by armed men in western Niger, close to the border with Mali. Nigeria's defense ministry says the attackers were traveling in 8 vehicles and more than 200 motorbikes. The ministry says it has sent reinforcement to the area and was conducting search and operations by land and air to try and find the attackers. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Midrand, we've got an accident on the N1 South that happened near New Road. Delays as you come out of Samrand Avenue while traveling on the R21 South out of Tembisa. We've got heavy traffic volumes between Olifantsfontein Road and the R23. That's due to an accident as well as roadworks taking place along this road. Please try to avoid this route if you can because we still have got major delays in the northerly direction as well. And please be on the lookout for men and women working the road there. If you are traveling towards Bedfordview, an accident reported on the N3 North just near Van Buren Road. Delays from the Geldenhuys interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 North. In fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic between Boysons Road and the Crown interchange. I'll have more updates for you, but if you come across anything else on the roads, please do remember to share those reports with us. We're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Are you looking for the best savings on spectacles? At Specsavers, enjoy 1,500 Rand off when you get tested at South Africa's trusted and most established optical group. Get 1,500 Rand off all frames in store or use your 1,500 Rand off on our leading lens enhancements, such as drive light lenses that reduce artificial glare whilst driving. Book online or call your nearest store today. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
In times like these, everyone is looking to save wherever they can. But you don't have to be a detective to know that with Outsurance, you could be saving big on your car insurance. Hear it from real Outsurance client Marius.
The great big saving that I've got, 765 Rand, 27% a month on my premium. It's so quick and easy to swap over. I am part of the Outsurance family.
It's a no-brainer. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Saving on car insurance makes you feel like a winner. And the best part is, if Outsurance can't beat your car insurance premium, ask them for 500 Rand cash. And make that 1,500 Rand cash if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. With Outsurance, you always get something out. A licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
On your phone, your computer, or a tablet, you can now browse the aisles, view our product range, and shop your building and DIY needs anywhere at any time. Skip the traffic and get everything online with CashBuild and delivered. As the online store is linked to your nearest CashBuild store, you can also enjoy free local delivery. Visit cashbuild.co.za/shop today. T's and C's apply.
This isn't just a walk, it's a journey through memory, through meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns on Sunday, 27 July. Walk from the hallowed grounds of Freedom Park to the southern lawns of the Union Buildings and past some of our capital city's most iconic landmarks Choose from 8 kilometers, 6.7 Ks in honor of Mandela Month, or 4 kilometers for something lighter. Entry is 360 rands for adults and 200 rand for kids under 12. There's no parking at the start or end, so book your park and ride from Joburg or Pretoria when you enter. Sign up on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Walk with meaning. Walk with us.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
All right, it's 9:36. We are still discussing a variety of issues. I'll come back to your calls. I see all your calls on Floyd Shivambu, but I want to bring something else to your attention very quickly. So there's two interesting stories that I've picked up on in the city of Cape Town on the one end, as well as in the city of Tshwane on the other end. I'll start with Cape Town. So in Bellville, there's a story about foreign nationals. I think it's African migrants, around 360 of them living in tents. They understand that they're refusing to leave. They moved there 5 years ago from a church in Green Market Square. Now, according to reports that I've been hearing, they don't want to be reintegrated into their old communities here in South Africa. They claim it's too dangerous. They don't want to be taken back home to their respective countries. They say that's also too dangerous. You're hearing reports about how they want to be taken, I think, by South Africa to Canada and the likes. So I'm trying to understand what's actually going on. I'm joined on the line for a quick one on this one by Cape Town Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis. Geordin, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. I'll try to be quick. The residents they feel you are unfair. They seem to want better options put on the table from the city, but you, on the other hand, are worried about grime and crime.
Well, these two kind of refugee tents, if we call them that, have become sites of huge public complaints in the area. There's one in Kensington where people are constantly reporting crime, and similar in Bellville. In Bellville, the two groups of refugees have actually started fighting with one another, and there's been an illegal eviction of one group by the other group. So there's now a significant chunk of them actually living on the pavement outside the tents in Bellville because they're not allowed to go back inside by the others. So this is becoming a very messy and totally unsustainable situation. Living conditions inside those tents are poor. They are costly. The city has stopped paying for the tents a few years ago now, but Home Affairs is still paying for them. We are still paying for toilets on site and so on. It has to end now.
You are approaching the courts, or you've approached the courts and I've seen this movie before. There will be NGOs that are involved that will try to get in the way. So in your eyes, how do you resolve this? Because from my understanding, these people are saying, take us out of the country, that's fine, but take us to Canada. Don't take us back to where we come from in terms of the different countries. Don't take us to communities where we come from here because we've experienced xenophobic attacks. So what is the impasse and what's the way forward?
Well, to my mind, there are only two options. The one option is repatriation to their country, and that would be the responsibility of the Department of Home Affairs, and they've agreed that they would do that. We've offered to contribute to the costs of that in a small way, nothing very substantial, but we will help. And then the other option is what's always been on the table, that they reintegrate into the South African community if they are here legally. And that option is theirs, but there is no option which includes them staying at those sites.
But lastly, the issue of the NGOs. I don't know if you are having conversations with them as well on the side to try and find a way outside. Because if you go to the courts will act in accordance with what's in the Constitution. And often we've seen governments failing in this regard.
Look, let me be honest. There are a number of NGOs that oppose these actions in Cape Town and around South Africa. We've seen that. And they often label themselves as human rights organizations. I think sometimes they should be called anti-human rights organizations because it is not nice for the people who are living there. It's not dignified. That's not a place where children should be growing up. Then many of them are not attending school. There's levels of health are poor there. It really is not a good situation that no one should be looking to perpetuate and lengthen. And it just doesn't make sense to me that there's organizations who actually want people to stay in those conditions and want to prevent the state from acting in the best interests of those people, even if they don't see it necessarily the same way. it is in their undoubtedly in their best interest and in the best interest of the broader community as well. As for Canada, look, I must be honest with you. I even approached the former Canadian ambassador just to check, is there some system in Canada that I'm not aware of where these people could actually be accepted? And of course the response was no, that's never going to happen. That's ludicrous. So even when I went there a couple of days ago, they were repeating again the same demand: we will not leave unless we go to Canada. I don't know who's told them that is an option. Obviously, the levels of understanding are also fairly poor, but that is definitely not an option and will never be an option.
My part in short, Geordin, is there a room for you to speak to the NGOs that are involved to try and find the solutions that are viable?
So there's no NGOs involved in this case at the moment. Even the United Nations High Commission on Refugees is supporting this eviction. And they agree that it must now happen. They've tried. The UNHCR has tried over years to try and get these particular residents to see sense and to accept the help and the offers that the government has made. And so they've now come to the point where they've made it clear that they support it. Other NGOs might get involved later in the case. I sincerely hope not. And of course, if that is the case, and they do get involved, we will engage them at the time, as we do around. You've seen the work that we're doing with the homeless community in Cape Town. We work reasonably constructively with the NGOs. The thing that frustrates me is when they oppose simply for the sake of opposing, even when there is a much, much better offer on the table. In the case of homelessness, we've developed the safe space model, which offers very dignified, excellent alternative, and yet still we see them opposing cases simply for the sake of opposing, and that actually just prolongs people suffering on the street. So we hope that they don't do that.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your time. That's Cape Town Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis. They're giving us a quick update on that really bizarre story. But then if you look at, it's not bizarre, it's actually quite common, and it does require a proper solution, actually. And then if you've been watching overnight in Tshwane, the mayor, Dr. Tshidi Madia, has been leading by law enforcement operations. They've hit house spots. They went to House 22. You all know yourselves on House 22. They gave businesses eviction notices. They checked on permits. Interestingly enough, she flagged that they are going back. These are revisits, and some of the areas that they'd closed down before operation. I want you to take a listen to a post she put up on social media last night about these raids.
Residents of Tshwane, we are back in Sunnyside. You will recall that a few weeks ago, we were here, we closed down all these shops because they are not complying. They opened, we came back, we closed them down, they opened, now we're back again. Really, it's tiring to deal with these people. These people are just like, something else. The audacity of just sheer disrespect of our laws. And I think we also dropped the ball here because these people were never supposed to reopen again. But we are here now. So we have closed others. We have taken away those without proper documentation. There was an operation at the flat where some of them, they ran to the flat. And we are checking them now. And we've got our team from the different departments. So I know what is important is that we're not going to give up on this fight. You can see that this city has been stolen right under our nose, and we must reclaim it. So we're here this evening. We're going to come back again and again and again until we get it right.
I apologize for the quality of that audio, but you can hear the mayor, Dr. Tshidi Madia of the capital in Tshwane, sounds really frustrated. They have the operations, they shut these unlawful establishments down, and then they come back and they're up and running again, over again. What do the cities need to do? How should cities be approaching these issues where they're trying to enforce bylaws? And that is being undermined by all manner of stakeholders, What do they need to do? 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. Chilizi, I'll come back to you after this.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
Why would you need luck if you know your ancestors are there to guide you and you also have people who believe in God? Why would luck be an important part of an equation like that?
Perhaps luck is the wrong word to use, but probability is probably the more accurate word to use. You want to increase the likelihood or the probability of your CV being seen. You know, they always talk about right time, right place.
Yes.
So we are encouraging Idlozi to put us at the right time and the right place.
African spiritual advisor Siyabonga Mkhiza.
702 afternoons.
With relatable Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
702 is heading to Freedom Park this Saturday, 21 June, and you are invited. Join us for a special broadcast with Gugs Mhlungu and Kenny Maestri as they take in the beauty, the views, and the stories of Freedom Park. It's the perfect family outing ahead of this year's 702 Walk the Talk, happening on Saturday, 27 July. To join Weekend Breakfast with Gugs Mhlungu and 702 Music with Kenny Maestri, email us at contact@702.co.za to reserve your spot. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult at 3,469. Just had a fantastic 2-hour meeting. It was so productive that we accomplished nearly as much as I could have done with one well-written email.
Hating the corporate 9 to 5? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's easy and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Ah, Shane, do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers 2 options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual-action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple-action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Nedbank Business Ignite on 702 is looking for a small business owner that talks a big game and delivers even bigger results. So if you're a small business that consistently dares to innovate, expand, and better your bottom line, you could walk away with 200,000 Rand cash and a 200,000 Rand advertising package. So enter on igniteyourbusiness.co.za. Then every day this week from 6 a.m., catch 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa to find out if you're a finalist in Nedbank Business Ignite on 702. T's and C's apply. Nedbank, an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
9:49, the Clement Manyathela Show. Tshidi Madia standing in for Clement. We're speaking about Floyd Shivambu. He's disappointed many people. I know, I get it. Speaking about his media briefing yesterday. What do you make of it? Is it a political party? I say if it works like a duck, you're probably looking at a duck. And we're also speaking about, of course, what's happening in the cities. You saw the Tshwane mayor and her late night raids, and we heard from Cape Town Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis about this back and forth that they have with these. I think they are labeling them refugees, but you could hear he's quite reluctant to even label them that. They're refusing to be reintegrated into communities. They're refusing to be assisted in going back to their own home countries. They want to be taken to places like Canada. That's the situation that they're dealing with in Cape Town, and they've now gone to the courts to try and evict well over 300 people who they say some are now living along the pavement. Chilidzi, you've been very patient with me. Thank you so much. Chilidzi's out in Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Go on.
Yes, I think Floyd Shivambu is becoming one of the worst disappointment that South African youth has ever experienced, from a young leader that promised many youth out there that as young people we can join the picket line and fight for what we think is relevant for young people. And yesterday was just a final nail to the coffin of the think tank, because now as people used to say, he's the think tank, and Malima used to say, what thinking was the guy doing? And now it's becoming clear that maybe he was not the think tank, as people used to say, because yesterday when you look at how he then invited you guys, you see the caliber of journalists who were there. One would have anticipated a very interesting political movement that will then make people to start think about how to go about politics in South Africa and things like that. But it was all like, it's like you guys went to podcast and chill with me.
First of all, Elizabeth, thank you. First of all, some of us weren't there. I know that people were like, oh, Tshidi, are you going? I did not go because you must give other journalists a chance to also engage these leaders. On my part, I've tried very hard to sit down with Floyd because there's lots of questions that Floyd Shivambu actually needs to speak to. There's lots of things that he's playing victim of at the moment that he actually was complicit in. That's what I've been hoping for. Since he said he's leaving EFF, I've been like, Kikopa a shot. He's never given me one. But thank you so much, Tshidi. And it's like, you guys don't underestimate those journalists. Those questions, by the way, sometimes you might not understand why a question is being asked. And only much later will you realize its relevance. There's a message on the WhatsApp line that says, Floyd doesn't need charm. He can use Bushiri and his popularity to get the numbers. I actually think there's something there. I think people underestimate how much influence Bushiri, the fugitive, has in this country and how much that intersection between politics and churches delivers. I mean, if somebody like, and I'm not trying to undermine him, but if somebody like Musi Maimane, and look at the campaign that he had, if he could find his way into parliament, so can Floyd. And we're in this really strange era in our politics where these small parties actually matter. That's how bad our political landscape actually looks at the moment, where maybe somebody earlier said that there should be legislation around it. Supposedly that might be where the remedy lies. But as it stands, it's a free-for-all. Godfrey Krugersdorp, hi.
Hi, Tshidi. One of the biggest critics of Floyd Shivambu. But I must say I agree with a lot of things that he said yesterday about the EFF and the MK. And yes, nothing screams more cult than EFF. Yes, people are saying why he's talking now that he's out of EFF. I mean, if you can tell me one person who once spoke out from within the cult, you can never find such a person because, cult is about mind control, it's about bullying, it's about threats. So you can only speak once you're out of the cult. I'll give an example of a cult that was in USA. They used to call it the Wako Siege.
Oh, yes. I follow cults a lot, so I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yes. Those guys couldn't speak out. They only speak out once the FBI bulldozed into the premises and there was fire, people were dying. That's when people started to speak out. So I don't blame Floyd. As much as I'm not impressed with his recent political stance, but it's correct. EFF is definitely a cult.
All right, Godfrey, thank you. That's your take. No comments. Thank you so much. That's Godfrey Upton Krugersdorp. No comment. And I've said my piece. That Ncini Chaku moment taught me many things about what to make of the political party. That's why I'm leaving it at that. I am going to come to your voice notes and WhatsApps. Sammy, I'll come to you in just a bit. But first, let me play some of your voice notes.
Good morning, Tshidi. On a different topic, the mayor of Tshwane, what she's, doing. My main question is, what have other people before her have been doing? The rooting of corruption, of illegality, of, lack of, upholding of the bylaws. My main question is, people who have been before her, who go to the office every day, who work for the municipalities, what have they been doing? Did they just go and sit at their offices? Did they not go out and just maintain rule of law, bylaws? What have they been doing to earn their salaries? Just my question for the day.
Morning, Tshidi. Who qualifies as a refugee? What is a refugee? Because you can't just say, I'm from whatever country, I'm a refugee. there needs to be condition for someone to qualify as a refugee. And you can't just come here and say, take me to Canada. I mean, like, how does that work? And now Home Affairs, they say they can't deport these people because of NGOs. What must take precedence? Because you can't just come to a country and say, no, take me to Canada. Who must bear that cost? And are the Canadian authorities ready to receive these people?
Hi, Tshidi. The mayor just needs to persist. Unfortunately, bylaws have been ignored for close to 3 decades. And if that's the case, the owners know there's money to be made. They need to persist, always arrive when they see that the shops have been reopened, and eventually the owners will feel the pinch and move. But it's still very lucrative, and no one really takes these initiatives seriously. If the mayor is serious, if people in power want to be serious, they need to demonstrate they're serious and persist and be continuous in closing them down.
Tshidi, what do these cities need to do is that I think we need to change our constitution with regard to this. There's no way, because our courts, they're always going to side with these NGOs. And some of these NGOs, they need to be investigated. What is it that they stand for? Why are they anti-South African? You know, they're always prioritizing foreigners. So this is Thabo here in Tshwane again.
Thank you so much for that on the WhatsApp line. Morning, Tshidi. Tshwane Mayor will win the battle. Nasipi is a beacon of hope and she's the best. I do think it's encouraging to see a mayor going back to where the problem is. That's what people in Johannesburg are hoping for. I know a couple of Joburg residents who are like, where's our mayor and his rates? You know, I live in Ekurhuleni and I'm also like, but where's our mayor and his rates? That's what you want to see. You want to see people who are supposedly actively trying to deal with the issue. And I find it refreshing when a politician is honest and say, I was here last week, I'd closed this down, why is it open again? I'm being undermined by my own. So all of those are interesting. It's like green shoots, right, of what is possible and what we hope for as we go to local government elections. Thank you for your input.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, 702 listeners. My name is Paco from Cullinan. The one thing that I love about 702 is Bongani Bingwa.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
So we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Get ready for the 28th edition of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. 3 memorable days from the 26th to the 28th September across 4 spectacular stages of the Sandton Convention Center. Join over 50 incredible world-renowned stars like Esperanza Spalding, The Baylor Project, Andile Yenana, Michelle Dingoncello, Trezor, Jose James, Kumo Sangare, Jazamia Horn, Gabi Mutuba, Benjamin Jafta, Nomfuno Kaluva, Mondli Ngobo, Lakesha Benjamin, Aluna Wade, and others on a musical journey deep into the heart and art of jazz. Take me there. Get your tickets on Ticketmaster now.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm stretching for tonight.
I thought you're not dancing at bachelorette parties anymore.
Baby, we need the money to put Johnny through matric mos.
And what's the police uniform for?
The clients feel safer when I wear it.
No, man, just sell your bucky to We Buy Cars. They give the best prices and they pay you within minutes.
Okay, but can I just go and dance one more time, please? You know how much I love it.
No, the buyer's already on his way here.
Wow, okay.
Strapped for cash? Just sell your vehicle to We Buy Cars. The easiest way to sell your car by far.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
It's 10 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu.
A couple accused of operating a global network of child sexual abuse material will be back in the Randburg Magistrates Court this morning. Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Megan Moodley were arrested in January this year after being tracked down by the FBI Global Investigation. Police discovered that the operation was taking place at Wilkin's apartment in Midrand. Jabulile Mbata reports.
At their previous court appearance, the matter was postponed to allow police to go through several hundred hours of pornographic footage discovered at Darren Wilkin's property. Police also found a luxury vehicle, $600,000 in cash, and high-end electronic equipment. Wilkin's accomplice, Megan Moodley, has been charged with manufacturing and distributing child pornography and money laundering. Since their arrest, the couple has been in police custody after being denied bail. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
A newly arrested suspect linked to the kidnapping and murder of journalist Aseri Ndlovu and his partner Zodwa Mdluli is set to appear in the Kwamhlanga Magistrates Court in Mpumalanga today. He was arrested last week and will appear as the fifth accused, facing 2 counts of kidnapping and murder. 8 people have been arrested in connection with the crime. Thando Luhle has more.
The state is set to inform the court about its findings after the matter was postponed for further investigation last month. A new suspect will make his first appearance today alongside 4 accused who all have been charged with 2 counts of kidnapping and murder. It is unclear whether the other 3 suspects in the matter, charged with robbery and possession of stolen property, will appear today. A memorial service was held for the couple earlier this week in Pretoria after DNA testing confirmed their remains. The couple went missing in February and their remains were found in Rustenburg in Limpopo in the first week of May. Thando Luhle, Eyewitness News.
The 5th group of SANDF troops has arrived in the country from Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The 258 soldiers landed in Bloemfontein this morning. They have been in North Kivu province since December 2023 for a SADC peacekeeping mission in the DRC. Their withdrawal comes after a ceasefire agreement was brokered between warring rebel group M23 and the DRC military. SANDF spokesperson Prince Shabalala says more soldiers are expected to return in the coming days.
The South African National Defence Force confirms the safe arrival of the 5th group of 258 members at Bram Fischer International Airport in Bloemfontein this morning. The members were deployed under operational Tiba in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo.
And 34 Nigerian soldiers have been killed by armed men in western Niger, close to the border with Mali. Nigeria's defense ministry says the attackers were traveling in 8 vehicles and more than 200 motorbikes. The ministry says it had sent reinforcements to the area and was conducting search operations by land and air to try to find the attackers. Nigerian soldiers were sent to the area to help fight military juntas as Niger and Mali have struggled to contain violence by terrorists, which has intensified in recent weeks. Gold is trading at $3,347.98 an ounce. The rand is at 18.01 to the dollar, 24.28 to the pound, 20.74 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $76.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the N1 South. This is just as you approach the Midrand area due to an accident that happened just near New Road. Delays as you come out of Samrid Avenue. Please be on the lookout there. And if you're traveling in Kempton Park, bumper-to-bumper traffic along the R21 South due to a major accident seen as well. Delays are between R25 and the R23.
A fine Friday in store for Gauteng today. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. A couple accused of operating a global network of child sexual abuse material will be back in the Randburg Magistrates Court this morning.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
What are the matters that matter to you?
702 listens.
702.
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7.
And 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
It's 5 minutes past 10. The Clement Manyathela Show, Tshidi Madia. Welcome back. So it's time for Across the Desk. It's a usual Friday feature. We bring in interesting people doing interesting things, and we find out a little bit more about what it is. So today, I'm a little bit excited about it because I've just seen a little glimpse of it, and we've been speaking about how Kyalami's racetrack is being upgraded and might be F1 ready, right? Might be ready. So we're in that space. Think about that. We're going to be speaking today to people involved in motorsport racing. It is picking up in the country. What do you want to know about it? Are you involved? Feel free to call in and ask my guests anything you want, really. 011 883 0702 072 702 1702.
702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
All right, so I'm joined in studio by two guests. I've got Mika Abrams, who's a motorsport racer, in studio with me. Hi, Mika. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Sunyi. Thank you for having me.
Very good. And I've also got Sia Chabalala, also in the world of motorsport. Right?
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Let me start with you, Mika. This wasn't where you'd wanted to be. How does one find themselves? And also, by the way, let me just say this. They're very young. It is important to talk about how young they are. So one imagines that they started in this world at a very young age. I mean, Mika, how old are you? When did you start?
I recently just turned 17 and I started when I was 9.
You see what I mean? They're very young. At 9, how do you know that this is what you want to do? And specifically, what discipline of motor racing? Because it's actually quite wide, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was always like a sporty person. I was into football, athletics, whatnot, anything my school offered. I hated motorsport growing up. Genuinely, I hated cars.
So he says growing up. This is now 17-year-old.
Like when I was like a little baby, I hated cars. And then I went to a friend's house and I played the F1 video game on his Xbox, and I fell in love with the sport ever since. And I knew from then, well, not really from then, but I really wanted to try a kart. And then my dad organized a kart day at Vereeniging, and I went there and I drove the kart and I fell in love with the sport. And then I kind of had that feeling that I really wanted to do this and I wanted to pursue this and do this for the rest of my life because the feeling of speed was so amazing.
Oh, it's the love for speed. What was your trigger? What made you go? And what is your specialty? So yours is kart. You said you started with kart.
Go-karting, yeah.
Go-karting. What is your specific aspect of motor racing, and how did you get involved?
So I am a superbike racer.
Oh, even cooler.
So my background is a bit different from Mika's one, but I think our mentality is a bit of the same thing. So yeah, I started a bit later. I started riding small bikes when I was still little, around 12. But then I was exposed to the world of motorsport at a rather late age because I didn't have the platform to start or how to start. So I started around 2017, and then it was onwards and upwards ever since. So it was just, yeah.
It's also the speed. I mean, now when you are a superbiker, that speaks to the stance, right?
No, it's like actual racing, like how Mika is racing.
Oh, you're racing the bikes.
Yeah, but I'm a racer with the bikes. But before racing with the bikes, I was mainly a stunter. I was stunting on my small bikes, and then I was stunting in the streets during that time. So I took a few videos, and someone on social media just reached out to me, and he was like, "If you're still gonna do this on the road, you're gonna get yourself hurt."
Imagine.
Is this what you want to continue on doing? And unfortunately, during that period, I lost a close person that I looked up to on the road. And that's when I decided not to start to continue riding on the road. So, I think that's where that's what pushed me towards going into the professional side of motorsport. And I fell in love with the speed, and I just loved the world of motorsport from there.
Mika, when you then decided to get into go-karting, for instance, you go to your parents and then to try and figure out where to go. How did you know where to go? How did you find places where you can get involved in the sport, you can try and practice?
Well, growing up, obviously, my dad really loved F1. He was a big fanatic, and I guess it was just blessed that we had people in our lives who did go-karting, and he organized and They helped us, get along, meet people, and it's all thanks to them that we got to know. But before that, I had no knowledge. We had no knowledge whatsoever about go-karting, that you could do it as a professional sport or whatnot. So it took a lot of learning, but we had the right people around us.
But where do you go? Because what I also understand when I look at the picture is that these are not common sports. It's not like you'll find a racetrack everywhere you go. They feel like they're few and far in between. I speak now of Kyalami, which is for the big cars. I know there used to be one in the Vaal for go-karting specifically. I don't know if it still exists. Where would you go, and how difficult was it then to stay in the sports?
There's not many places you can start. Motorsport is such a underlooked sport in South Africa, so finding the right facilities, finding the right things, it's quite hard. But there's places like in Swartkorps, in Vereniging, like in places you've never been to in your life, and and then those are the places where you start. And I never used to go to like Benoni, Vereniging, Swartkorps, but now they're all like my second home.
They're also remote. Yeah. And then for you, where did you then figure out where to start? When somebody said, actually, let's get you off the roads, let's find safer spaces, there's something else that you can do. Where did you start, and how did you find it? Was it difficult finding places to practice?
So what happened is, after he reached out to me, he introduced me to Neil Heron, who's running the South African Motorcycle Academy. So I met with Neil at one of the local tracks, which was Red Star. No, it was actually in Brakpan, the Rock Raceway. And then we later moved to Red Star. That's where I got my first racing experience. And I pushed, and Neil noticed from the get-go that I had something special in me to push. And me having to see that, for me to be exposed in that environment, I had to go through what I went through and get to Neil's Academy to see the actual sport. It also inspired me to register my own academy, because I feel that township kids don't have that platform, or that one person that will DM them and let them know that there's a person like Neil who has an academy for you to go and practice, or for you to at least learn what motorsport is. So
So the point of mentorship is quite important. I will get into that, because I do think it's an important one. On your end, did you find somebody who was able to hold your hand to say, these are the avenues, this is what you need to do?
I've never really had like a singular coach that has like taken me up the ranks. I used to be with my dad. He would go on track in the sun. He would put cones out, because he would just base it off what he sees like on online with racing lines and whatnot, and we would just work on that like day in and day out. And it was like, we put in the work, we put in the time, and I would just say, I've worked with a lot of people over my career. I've worked with a lot of coaches and a lot of teams, but no one's helped me the way my dad has, and I'm really grateful and blessed to have a father like him in my life.
And cost, Mika, because from my understanding, and I think one of the reasons why it doesn't seem to be so popular, people talk about how expensive it is. Even now, when we speak about the possibility of F1, yesterday listeners were saying trying to bring the F1 to South Africa is a difficult one, because people will not be able to afford tickets. I can't imagine then participating and sticking with the sport.
Yeah, I guess that's probably the worst part of our sport. It's so expensive, and already being in South Africa, it's already an expensive sport here, and then going to Europe, that's like, it's unfathomable, and it really makes this sport bitter. But with the right people behind you, you can make anything possible. But that's what I want to do in my career, is make motorsport a very known sport in South Africa, so people can support like drivers like myself, riders like Sia, and it can help us take so we can race in Europe more frequently.
Sia, the cost of being a biker, a super biker, what is it like? If you had to talk me through even monthly expenses that keep you in races, keep you going, what does it look like? How much would one need to think about when it comes to the money that is required to keep you training and also participating in races?
So I'd say, like Mika is saying, the costs never end. So it's just a matter of you dreaming and pushing forward, because now you being exposed or just being there, it allows you to meet so many great people that are able to enable you to do what you love without even having anything. So for me, it even came to a point whereby I recently joined a team, the Inter-Africa Racing team, of which they've also enabled me to unlock my full potential, whereby before I was racing on a stock bike, and if I could start from the very beginning, I didn't have a bike to begin with. So I went into an apprenticeship with Yamaha for 5 years, and they were able to sponsor a bike. But now you have a bike, but you still have to convert it into a proper race bike. So it's a cost on its own. And that's where you start to expose yourself. I push on a stock bike in the first season, and people saw that I could still keep the pace. And you find 2-3 people coming by. What else do you need? And they pitch in. After pitching in, you find yourself on a proper race bike, only because you still keep on believing on your dreams, and you're exposing yourself and meeting new people who can help you.
You mentioned something called a stock bike. I don't even know what that is. So let's speak about that and the different kinds of bikes as you grow, when you go up, further up in the ranks, I imagine. How do the ranks even work?
So there's your unlimited open super bikes, which is your beginner, and there's your unlimited super bikes, which is your intermediate, and then there's your national SBK, which is your top one in SA. So I'm currently leading the championship in the intermediate one, which is the Superbikes Unlimited class. And when I say a stock bike, I mean like, you know, your normal car, your production car, your i20, let's say,
like
for
a normal
example.
car, yeah.
So
Yes.
I got my bike like your i20. You can't just take your normal car and go and race it as it is, because you won't have the speed to be competitive. So you still have to to convert it into a proper race bike. Put your normal race your normal race fairings and few other components, which probably cost an arm and a leg to put on your bike or your car.
That's the thing. Mika, with cars, with go karts, I've been to that Vereniging one that you mentioned. It's in Swart. Forgot what it is, but I've been to that particular area and I've seen the go karts. But how do they differ? Because in a lot of people's heads, a go-kart is putting together pieces of wood, and you know what I mean, the old school picture of what a go-kart looks like. But what is it actually like?
I mean, I race karts now like 5 years ago now, so I need to try and dig deep to remember. But for me, it's like a small little death machine. It's like you're so close to the ground. There's no safety around you, no safety belts. The engine's right next to you. The fuel's in between your legs, and you're going like 120 kilometers an hour, like bumping people. It's like as fast bumper cars, but you have to be very, very skilled. But it's like, I race in British Formula 3 now, and I would still say I feel like karts are more scary because you're so close to the ground. It just feels so much faster, and like one small mistake, you know, you can. I mean, I've had times where I've been flung out of my kart, so there's not much safety going on in there. Like in F3, we have safety belts, halo, everything protecting you, so you feel safe and snug as a bug. But in karting, it's just like daredevils.
Would you suggest that somebody must start maybe at go-karting? Is it a forced path to get to F3 where you are, that you've got to go via go-karting? And maybe speak about how one evolves from that one ranking towards where you are now.
Well, the preferred route is to start in go-karting, but I mean, you know, it doesn't really, you can start in like single seaters as well, like Formula 1600, but the preferred route, like most all F1 drivers, they started in karts. I think that's like the building blocks. It's the foundation of a racer. You learn everything there, and then you take it on into main circuit racing, because the competition is so tough and fierce, and you know you have to build your aggression in karting, because it's just so like you're just fighting with everyone. There's so many cars on track, and it's just really intense. And then you go to main circuit racing, it's more like respectful. It's more professional.
I want to invite the listeners in. If you've ever thought about go-karting, you've got questions for our guests. They're young, but you can hear they are quite knowledgeable on the topics that we're speaking about. Sia is a super biker, and then Mika Abrams is a motorsport racer. He is F3. You said it's called F3, right?
Yes, British Formula 3.
British Formula 3. That's what it is. You've got a host who knows very little about motor racing. Yeah. So this is where we learn. You and I learning together. If you've got questions, you want to participate, now's your opportunity. 011 883 0702 072 702 1702. If you've got questions for my two guests. Is there a thing about personalities that is required that will have to go with sports like this? Do you have to be a certain kind of person? You know, you spoke about Daredevil, you spoke about one being a death car. Let me start with you, Sia. Is there a kind of personality that it takes to stick with something like this? It's also because of the lack of popularity and the lack of knowledge. I imagine it's lonely as well.
Yes, it is. It's a very lonely sport, but you get to meet great people, like I was saying, people like Mika. And what I've noticed is that between the two sports, he's on 4 wheels, I'm on 2 wheels. But what's common is that it's a mental game. You have to be very strong. You don't have to be a special kind of person. You just have to be mentally strong and to be determined to push for what you actually want. And once you already started, it only gets better from there. And you always want to get better and better, and you push for that first place. And once you get there, it's very satisfying because now all that hard work and that loneliness pays off. So,
Mika, how competitive is it? And I imagine there's different levels in terms of on the 2 wheels versus the 4. How competitive is your space? Locally, I think internationally we've seen it. Europeans, we see the European space quite often. It gets enough prominence. But locally, how competitive is it?
I mean, I would say, I haven't raced locally in a long, long time. But when I did, it's competitive, but it doesn't compare whatsoever to European racing. I mean, in Europe, like everyone is like so fierce. They're like you have no friends there. You're just there for yourself, and you're there to like win. And you mustn't be afraid to make enemies. Yeah, you can still be friends off track and whatnot. So I guess the competition is less fierce here. But I mean, the home of motor racing is in Europe, so those boys are just a different level.
Do you remember your first competition in Europe, your first international? What nerves you went through, and even your first win?
My first race in Europe was in 2019. I did a karting race. It was a one-off race, and to be honest, I'm not really proud to admit it, but I was very like cocky going in because I had a great year. A great year going in. A great year going. I thought I was, going to be at the top, and but it was a very humbling weekend, and I'm really grateful for it because the competition there is like so fierce and so tight that like one small mistake and you can go from being in the top 10 to being like P70, P80, and it's like 100 kids there competing, like, all with the same dream, trying to make it to Formula One. And it was a very humbling and I had an amazing time, and I'm really grateful for the experience. And it was very nerve-wracking because being on a grid with 30 karts and like the world's best, and it's very like the butterflies you go through, the butterflies you have when before getting into that kart. And I mean, for me, I always like making a little prayer, and I did a few extra prayers when I was there. And I must say the nerves haven't changed. I mean, that was 2019, and then coming into my first win in Denmark in 2022, I was leading the race, and I was still equally as nervous. I was like, there's these people watching, you have like a fierce competition behind you, and it's just nerve-wracking. But at the end of the day, like Sia says, it's all the loneliness and the hard work, it pays off. So that always overcomes everything. And it's a great feeling just knowing that you are able to compete at that level and achieve results, knowing that you've worked hard for it.
So you came in with, I think it looks like a trophy.
Yes, it is.
Let's tell me about this trophy. It actually looks really good. We are on YouTube so people can see it. Okay. Tell me a little bit more about this. And then I also want to know about your first big global scale competition.
So I'm still yet to get to the global stage.
Okay.
But the whole reason why I bought this trophy is because of it was my actual first win out of all the years of racing. And I only got it this year in the opening round of the season.
That's
so
beautiful, but
since
it says you must be
2017,
patient with yourself as well. Yeah.
since 2017, I haven't seen a win up until this one. So that's why I keep it very close to my heart.
Where did you win it? Tell me more about where you won it. Tell me about how you also felt. You know, Mika speaks about how you went into one race, his first race cocky. Tell me about how you were feeling in the lead up to this. Were you confident? Did you know you had it in the bag? Did you surprise yourself? How was that?
So in this race, I was more calm-headed because I've learned that racing is it's more efficient if you make it a slow build-up. If you don't just rush to one point, you just build it up, build up your confidence up until you are able to push, but not push enough to make mistakes, if you get what I'm saying. So with this one, it was in Pretoria. I had to push, but then I still had to keep the same pace. There was someone in front of me, but because I had to keep a calm head, I have to remind myself that no, this person is in a different class. They combined us. I have to remind myself this person is in a different class and I'm in my own class, but I'm leading my class. Do I really have to beat him to win, or should I just keep my position on the win? So it's been like that. I had to compose myself at that moment and push, but still keep a calm head for me to take the win. And then up until our recent race that happened in Cape Town, where it was raining, it was a different kind of a challenge now. So
Goodness, yeah.
yeah, so I had to. You only have 2 wheels for grip, and it's raining. And I recently joined the team, and all the hype is because of the team. So I still have to keep my calm head, not to think about what's happening, who's here, or who's the big boss in the team, but rather to do what I'm supposed to do at that moment. And I ended up finishing the fastest in the rain.
Oh, beautiful. In the rain.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Congratulations. How competitive is it for you in South Africa?
It's very competitive, but like Mika was saying, when you get to Europe, it's a different ball game because they put everything into their racing, whether it's your technical appliances or the aid to compete at the highest level. They do that. So when you're from South Africa, you work with what you have. So and it doesn't have the biggest funding for you to push the way the Europeans are actually pushing. So I think for us, it's just a matter of building with what we have, and that hunger. Once you get to Europe, you realize, okay, now it's a different game, but you still have that hunger in you to push forward, even though you don't have anything because you know where you come from.
So it's a difficult one. It's a different set of games. There are over 120 motorsport clubs in South Africa under Motorsport South Africa. Events are happening across all our provinces. It's as it's known. It's not at the level, of course, of rugby or football in that matter, but there are people who are slowly getting into it and participating. We're in conversation with two of the two sporting participants. We've got Mika Abrahams, who's a motorsport racer, and Sia Chabalala, who races on the superbike. They'll be with us, of course, until the top of the hour. If you've got questions for them, please feel free to call in. If you've got, there are people who want to ask about women participation. I'll come back to that after the headlines. So I want to get to the headlines first, and then we'll come back to those. Are you interested in the sport? What do you want to know about motor racing? A lot of people shy away from it because of cost, and the guests have said that there is a massive cost element to it, that a lot of money goes into it. But what's lovely about the guests is that they do speak about what they want to do in the various communities. We're going to find out more on their vision, what they want to do for the country beyond themselves in their particular respective sports after the headlines. Sfiso Zulu's got your headlines.
Thanks, Tshidi. Good morning. 2 learners have been arrested in connection with the murder of a grade 11 pupil from a secondary school in Pretoria East. The boy was allegedly stabbed by a fellow pupil outside the school's premises earlier this week. The motive of the attack is not yet known. 7 suspects alleged to be part of a syndicate linked to issuing fake passports will return to court in Durban today. The Hawks arrested the group over the weekend. It's alleged that they conducted their operation between February 2020 and July 2023. And Israel's military says it has struck dozens of targets in Tehran overnight, including what it calls a center for the research and development of Iran's nuclear weapons project. It has killed more than 200 Iranians since it started attacking their country based on unsubstantiated claims of a nuclear threat. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While travelling on the N1 North, we still have got some issues reported towards Midrand coming out of New Road. Please be on the lookout there. The southerly direction is also affected. This is due to an earlier accident. Delays between Samrand Avenue and New Road. While travelling towards Bedford View, some delays on the N3 North. This is between the Elands interchange towards the Van Buren Road. That's due to a major accident scene. I'm also seeing delays through the Geldenhuys interchange M2 East as well as Refinery Road. So please be on the lookout if you're heading towards Germiston. While travelling in towards the Davidton area, some hectic delays on the N12 West towards Putfontein Road. Please be on the lookout there. And there's also slow-moving traffic in Crown City along the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. I'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Floyd Shivambu is going to be going around asking for permission to start his party that he already knows he's going to start.
But he's not resigning.
He's got a precedent. Jacob Zuma has shown us how. Right? And he says that he respects it. Me and Floyd and you know that the party is going to be established. People asking the question, do we need another political party? It's like a deep question. No, we don't. We don't need another political party, but we're going to have more political parties because guys can make money out of it.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
702 is heading to Freedom Park this Saturday, 21 June, and you are invited. Join us for a special broadcast with Gugu Mhlungu and Kenny Maestri as they take in the beauty, the views, and the stories of Freedom Park. It's the perfect family outing ahead of this year's 702 Walk the Talk happening on Saturday, 27 July. To join Weekend Breakfast with Gugu Mhlungu and 702 Music with Kenny Maestri, email us at contact@702.co.za to reserve your spot. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
Kickstart your small business with a starter bundle from Nedbank. Enjoy free transactions for 6 months, including free cash deposits and withdrawals and a free debit card with easy digital access and a dedicated banker to guide you along every step of the way. Open a Nedbank starter bundle with SA's best bank for SMEs. Apply on the Money app today. Nedbank. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Get ready, South Africa. The 129th Hollywood Bets Durban July gallops into Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse on Saturday, 5th July. It's more than a race. It's the heartbeat of Mzansi. This year's theme, Marvels of Mzansi, celebrates our rich culture, vibrant heritage, and breathtaking beauty. From thrilling horse racing to show-stopping fashion and powerful performances by Zolani Mahola, Lira, Mafigi Zolo, and more. Feel the pulse of a nation in celebration. Tickets are flying fast. Secure yours now at Ticket Pro. The Hollywood Bets Durban July, Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
You know, ever since I adopted positive energy-saving behaviors, the National Grid is thanking me. You should also adopt this lifestyle and your pocket will thank you too. Simply switch off non-essential appliances and lights when they're not in use. Reduce your geyser temperature to 60 degrees Celsius. Replace inefficient lights with LED lights. These are some of the ways you can use electricity wisely to help sustain our energy grid and contribute to a greener planet. Just like every rand counts, every kilowatt counts. Let's use electricity wisely. Eskom.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8 kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4 kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
For more about 702,
Go to primemediaplus.com.
Welcome back, 10:36. Tshidi Madia in for Clement Manyathela. We are joined by racers, right? Mika Abrams is a motorsport racer, and then Sia Chabalala is a superbike racer. Then studio with me, trying to teach us a little bit more about this particular sport. It is growing in our country. There are now at least 25,000 people actively involved in the various disciplines. So some are involved in karting, some go to rally, some are in the motocross space. People like Sia are involved in the superbike area, and then there's about 120 clubs across the country. I mean, Mika earlier said that it's found him in places he's never been to before, where this is where the sport is active. So they're joining us in studio to help us understand a little bit about what it is that they do. You've got calls, you've got questions. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. Are you interested? Are you involved? Are you scared? These are sports that people are also very scared of because it feels dangerous. Mika, earlier you spoke about how in go-karting there's very little to protect you. So I also know that parents will be reluctant to allow their children. What would you say to parents? I mean, your parents allowed you to do it. What would you say to parents about their kids who might be interested in following your footsteps?
Well, I mean, it's a very scary sport. I don't think my mom still can't watch me, barely watch me race now still. She doesn't watch any of my starts because it's the most dangerous part of the race. But I mean, it's a beautiful sport. It's great to connect and bond with family, and my parents and I over the years we've had such beautiful moments like winning, and even in losing we have beautiful moments too. And I think it's just for parents that want to get their kids into racing or have worries and concerns, it's really safe. It's just you're gonna have those odd moments, but it's very rare. But on top of that, it's a beautiful sport, and the feelings and the emotions and everything you go through is wonderful and once in a lifetime experience.
I've got a couple of messages here and questions for you guys. So I'll start with this one. A message, so I think both of you could answer this question. Are there female race car drivers in South Africa? In both your ends, how is women participation here in the superbike space? Are there women participating?
Yes, there is. There's quite a number of women participating, and what I've noticed is that racing has no gender. It's all about speed.
That's what we want to hear.
It's all about speed and the love we have for speed, and just improving and bettering ourselves as people. And I'm grateful that we have pioneers that have created a platform for us to actually showcase our talent, both male and female. Like in SA, we have the South African Endurance Series, of which it has allowed us to showcase ourselves both in the bikes and the cars. So you do find women racing cars and bikes.
In motorsport?
I'd like to say there are a few, but there's not as many as there should be. I mean, like Sia said, motorsport has no gender, and I feel there's lots of women out there in South Africa that probably just need the opportunity to get a platform like Sia and I say that we have, and hopefully that we're able to open doors like that, and hopefully in the future. But there are a few women racers in South Africa who race in single-seaters and touring cars, and they do amazing, and it's great to see that they're paving the way for women to come into motorsport, and hopefully we will see more in the future.
I'm going to play you guys a couple of voice notes from some of the listeners, then you can comment on them. Abel?
Morning 702. Morning. Thanks for the beautiful topic. I actually have a son. He's 19 years old who has been interested in this race car things from his high school year. So I never knew where to go for information. I always thought that it's an expensive sport as I'm a single mother. And because we are far, we are staying on the west end. So thank you for the guest. I'll keep on listening and get some information. Thank you guys. Great show. This is Sharon from Randfontein.
Thank you.
Hi there, 702. Just wanted to ask McKill regarding the British Formula 3. Out of interest, how much would a season cost in British Formula 3, or like what are the steps to Formula 1? And I mean, going from British Formula 3 to get to F1, what would it cost like per season, or what's the budget to become a racing driver from Formula 3 to get to Formula 1? Is just a question. Wesley from Centurion.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for the questions and the comments. Let me start with that, Mika. Because we do think about money. All of us, when you think motor racing, we think about money. So he's asking, of course, about how much you require, looking at a budget for Formula 3.
Well, I don't manage anything to do with the money.
You're the talent.
Yeah, I have a management company, and they manage all the financing, and same with my father. So I can't give an answer for that, unfortunately, but I can say that the path to F1 is you start in Formula 4, you go to Formula 3, Formula 2, and then with the talent and the right people behind you can get to Formula 1. And I mean it's not limited to many people. You can I have sponsors, and you can get sponsors, and you can start here in South Africa with Formula 1600 racing, and that's pretty close to Formula 4. And then eventually that will gain you enough experience which can take you to F4 in Europe, and then with all the meeting people there and learning new things, that will help you progress into Formula 3 and then Formula 2. But the money related side, I have no
you wouldn't know
knowledge on that.
No, thank you. See, earlier you spoke about why you also do what you do. You spoke about a loss that you had, but you spoke about the communities, and that's important. Let's speak about where you come from in terms of community and why it's important for you to try and create an environment for other seers to follow through.
So what I've noticed is one of the listeners said she's from the West End. So I'm also around the West End. I live in a township called Kagiso. And what I've noticed is that, like Mika is saying, if you look at the finances, it's gonna be discouraging at some point. And for a township kid to think about doing a motorsport journey, but they don't even have a single cent to add to it, is gonna be very discouraging. So the reason why I actually wanted to push my academy is because obviously you're giving them a platform. But again, you also need bikes for them. You need a suit, you need a helmet, you need once they started, you have to get a racing license for them. So you pay for a racing license annually, and then your race entry fees vary from track to track. So if you're going to Kyalami, it could be this much, but if you're going to Pretoria, it's gonna be much lesser. So it's a matter of just chasing your dream regardless. And for me, it's just a matter of me pushing myself and making a name for myself to a point where the academy, making a name for myself will allow the academy to create a good platform for the young ones to have at least a small access to what I'm doing and to what they want to achieve in the world of motorsport.
You also, part of your ambition is for country. It's not just about you. We look at the more popular sports and we see what it's like when they achieve big goals as well, and how we embrace it as a nation. You've also got South African mind when you race in the European circuit.
Well, yeah, no, 100%. I'm very patriotic about my country. I love my country, and I want to be able to give back to this beautiful nation one day. And, like Sia says, there's many kids in our country who have this passion, have this dream, but they don't have the facilities, or they don't have They don't have the funding to get there, and that's one thing I want to be able to do. I don't feel I'm just doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the future of South African motorsport, and I want to be able to pave that way. So kids in the future, and even kids now, I mean, like Sia does his academy, I've gotten into coaching, and I like to, and I mean, next week I'm starting to coach a team from Namibia, and you know, it's a, you know, winning is a nice feeling, but for me, being able to give back, knowing what I've achieved, is able to help others. It really is a special feeling, and it's a beautiful feeling, and I just want to be able to continue to do that for the rest of my career. And if there's any goal I'd like to accomplish, it's mainly giving back, and I plan to work hard on making sure that dream comes true.
Coaching already when you're so young. It's 10:45. I'm going to take a quick break and we'll come back. We are hanging out with Mika Abrams, who's a motorsport racer, as well as Sia Chabalala, who's a superbike racer. If you want to know more about what they do, what it entails, if they have rituals, you know, like sports people always have these really bizarre rituals. We'll find out after this break.
We are woven into the same soil that shapes South Africa. Its dreams, its energy, its promise. These guide us. Together, we've built progress hand in hand, from the mines to bustling main streets, from one generation to the next. With communities, government, and partners, every initiative from healthcare to education, youth empowerment to entrepreneurship lights the way forward. Because we don't just mine minerals, we mine possibility and progress with purpose. Together, we're shaping what's next, mining potential, building beyond. Anglo-American.
The Maibuya E-Africa concert returns for its third electrifying edition this month, presented by Billy Munama in partnership with the Joburg Theatre. This musical experience takes place on the 28th and 29th of June. The lineup features 6 show-stopping guest artists: Zoe Mutiga, Judith Sipuma, Malay Berita, and the iconic Soul Brothers, each bringing their unique voice to this powerful celebration of culture and identity. Tickets are available from webtickets.co.za.
It all starts with FNB Private. Diversify your portfolio to grow your wealth. Gain global exposure through shares or unit trusts on the FNB app. Tap into international investments and tax-efficient offshore trusts to build your legacy. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSB and credit provider. FNB International Trustees, FNB IT registration number 3080. Licensed by the Guernsey Financial Services Commission to conduct fiduciary business. T's and C's apply.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
10:47. It's across the desk on the Clement Manyathela Show. Tshidi Madia standing in for Clement. I'm hanging out with Mika Abrams and Sia Chabalala. Sia is a super biker and Mika is a motorsport racer. F3 motorsport racer, correct?
Yes, correct.
I got it right. I'm learning as you are learning. If you've got calls, if you've got questions, please feel free to call in on 011 883 0702. WhatsApps and voice notes to 072 702 1702. We often see sporting heroes speak about like the routine around it as well. So there's a particular approach you must have to every race. There must be a rhythm of sorts. How do you prepare for every race? And coming out of it, how do you recover?
So, was it for Mika? Or
it is for you. That's why I'm looking at you. Okay, it's for you.
So with me, it was because I was in the township during the time and I didn't have the money to go to a gym. I would usually like do road work. But because it's such a taboo what we're doing, when you run in the township, they would ask you, what are you running away from?
Yeah.
So I've always channeled myself that I know what I want and I want to push for what I want. So I'd run, but now recently what I do, I still run, but now I go to the gym more often. I go to the gym at least 4 to 3 times a week. And then post-race, after racing, because it takes so much toll on you, I get to rest. So it depends on where I am. If I'm at a place like Cape Town, it's going to be a first experience for me in Cape Town. So I'm still going to go around looking in Cape Town and to see
have fun, see the place, yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate resting after a race.
Mika, your ritual, your process before, leading up to the race, and post race.
Well, leading up to the race, I like to just be one with myself. I don't like, the distractions or being around anything. I just want to stay at home and just clear my head or just be by myself. Or recently I've taken up golf, which clears my head too, and it's a nice way to get out. And
You like expensive sports, eh?
yeah.
Feel sorry for your parents.
And then on the race weekend, I'm very meticulous about what I do. I like to I listen to my music 24/7 on race weekends, and then I do my warm up before my racing, skipping, foam rolling, stretches, everything. I walk down with my engineers and mechanics to the pre-race. I don't like walking by myself. And then before, I like to give my mom a hug, and my dad always kisses my hand. It's been our thing since I started racing.
So that's your ritual. This must happen.
Yeah, it must happen.
Mm.
And then when I get in the car, before I close my visor, I make a little prayer, and I just say what I'm thankful for, and then I pray to keep myself and my competitors safe, and then close my visor, and then I just recite a little prayer on the warm-up lap, and then that's my pre-race ritual. And then after the race weekend, like Sia says, just rest. I will not leave my bed. And if I do, my body will be very, very sore.
So, do you have a ritual? Do you do a thing that has to be done? The step must be done. The T-shirt must be worn before you race.
Our ritual is pretty much the same. Like, I also listen to one specific song, and maybe 10 seconds or minutes before the race, I also pray next to my bike. People will just leave me there next to the bike, and they will see that I'm busy cooking.
What song do you listen to?
When You Believe by Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston.
Of course, anything can be achieved. I've got some calls for you on the line. Paul and Vereniging, hi, good morning to you.
Hi, Tshidi, how are you?
Good, very good, very good. Talk to the what do you call racers? Racers, is that it? Yeah. Talk to the racers.
Yeah, the racers. Hi guys, I just want to ask, my son is 7 years old and he's interested in cars. So I want to put him on the sport. Where can I start?
All right, Mika, maybe you can start with that one.
Well, if you say you're from Vereniging, then there's a car track really nearby, and I mean, I'm not sure if it's still running or active, but you can go there, speak to people, or there's get in touch with Motorsport South Africa through the website, and they can put you in touch with car teams. And I mean, your son's the perfect age to start racing now, 7 years old. I was 10 when I started, and there's lots of categories that can help him learn. There's lots of places that can teach him, and you can do track days. Even start with rental karting. But have a look at Motorsport South Africa, or go to your local car track, which I think is Vereniging Raceway. But I hope your son. I hope you guys can get into racing.
Okay. Do you have any sports clubs nearby in the Val, or anyone that you know?
Paul, sorry to come in there. I think he's best advised there about going to Motorsport SA. I think they'll be able to guide you. There are at least. No, thank you so much though. I've heard you. Paul. Paul is out in Vereniging. There are 120 at least clubs, and I think if you do go to Motorsport South Africa, the answers that you're seeking are possibly going to be right there for you. Guys, take a listen to this voice note.
Tshidi, thanks for a wonderful show today, and what I'd like to know from the two gentlemen, and for the sake of all South Africans, this sport, yes, is growing, but we are hearing it's only in Gauteng. I'm not sure what will it take from a child from Mnambiti or in Limpopo, Masemola or whatever. Where can they get all this information? The nearest tracks, the nearest people who are doing that. I think collaboration is one of the things that we should be doing as South Africans, so that you can grow as this type of sports, so that it's inclusive to everyone, everywhere, at the corner of our country. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much. There's a lot of curiosity about where to go. Let me start with you, Sia. Do you have an understanding of what the sport is like outside of Gauteng? I mean, you said you're racing in Cape Town, but do we know about other provinces?
So there is pretty much a racetrack in every province. And well, like I was saying before, it's a matter of us exposing ourselves. So if you know you are in Limpopo, you have to Google there's a track in Limpopo. If you know you are in Cape Town, there's a track in Cape Town. And just going to visit the track and exposing yourself to the people there and asking questions will allow you to get the right answers, because we have Motorsport South Africa online, but people don't know more about it. But even though there is a platform online, I'd say it's still a matter of us exposing ourselves to learn about the sport. So if you Google Motorsport South Africa or just Google a racetrack near you, I think you will be in the right direction, because there is pretty much a racetrack in every province in SA.
Just for people asking, because there are a lot of questions about it, and I just quickly Googled it. If you go to motorsport.co.za, because that's what the two gentlemen keep referring us to, there's quite a lot. There is updates, there is about the sport itself, insurance, officials, there's all manner of information, the calendar, where to go. I think the information that some of the parents are looking for can be there. See cars, motorcycles, karting, sim racing. So there's all manner of racing that is represented there as well. As far as motor racing is concerned, Mika, how does it look like outside of Gauteng? Do you have any idea in the country if there are? And if you're in the European circuit, sure, but how many people from South Africa are with you in that space fighting to also grow in the industry?
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for others on how they fight their own battles, but I would like to say, motorsport in South Africa is what, it is, there is not many in some provinces, there's more in others, but I'd like to say it's well-rounded, but I feel that we just need to grow the name of motorsports in South Africa and just to get it more recognized, and in doing so that will bring lots more opportunities, many more doors open for many people in provinces that have less racing. And I guess that's what Sia and I want to do. We want to be able to grow the sport in a way that it can benefit everyone in this country, not just Gauteng, Cape Town and Durban, but Limpopo and all provinces. And we want to and I think in good time it will happen, and it can definitely grow. And it's growing really fast, but let's hope it can grow even faster.
I think there's one more message that we cannot end this conversation without playing. Are we able to play it?
Hi, Radio 702. This message is for Siyabonga Shabalala. I am your big sister, Tuli Shabalala. I just wanted to say, keep pushing. We are super proud of you as the West Rand and as your family. Stay humble. Remember where you come from. We love you.
And that's that. I hope you received that.
Yeah, I did.
I'm even impressed.
Yes.
I'm really proud. Yes, it's okay. Even I'm feeling quite teary. Thank you to your big sister for that message. And I think it is inspiring. Good luck to both of you. Thank you so much for stepping in and sharing your story with us. Hopefully you also turn more South Africans into future Mikas and Sias. Thank you so much. Thank you both.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Mom, Dad, you're not gonna believe this.
What's up, bud?
Luke's family has a kitchen.
Okay.
Like a real one, with knives and a sink for dishes. His mom was just standing there, making food with her hands. There was a fridge full of vegetables, even broccoli.
Not broccoli.
Oh, the horror. Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thai way.
We are woven into the same soil that shapes South Africa. Its dreams, its energy, its promise. These guide us. Together, we've built progress hand in hand, from the mines to bustling main streets, from one generation to the next. With communities, government and partners, every initiative from healthcare to education, youth empowerment to entrepreneurship lights the way forward. Because we don't just mine minerals, we mine possibility and progress with purpose. Together, we're shaping what's next, mining potential, building beyond. Anglo-American.
Checkers XXL Savings is on with the XXL Jackpot competition. The more SA swipes, the bigger the prize. Plus, save on Bacoma Weet-Bix 900 grams or Cornflakes cereal 1 kg, any 2 for 99 Rand. And Twin Saver 2-ply toilet rolls 18 pack, buy 2 for 249 Rand. Remember, simply buy any 3 participating products, swipe your extra savings card and get a scratch card to enter the competition. Deals valid until Sunday at Checkers.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. 2 learners have been arrested in connection with the murder of a grade 11 pupil from a secondary school in Pretoria East. The boy was allegedly stabbed by a fellow pupil outside the school premises earlier this week. The motive of the attack is not yet known, and police spokesperson Mavela Masondo says the suspect will appear in the Bronkhorstspruit Magistrates Court today on a charge of murder.
Police have arrested 2 learners aged 19 after a fellow learner was stabbed and killed outside the school premises in the Tabung in Boschkop on Tuesday, the 17th of June 2025.
7 suspects alleged to be part of a syndicate linked to issuing fake passports will return to court in Durban today. The Hawks arrested the group over the weekend. It's alleged that they conducted their operation between February 2020 and July 2023. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more.
The accused will return to the Durban Specialized Commercial Crimes Court today to have legal representative appointed and to apply for bail. The state alleges one of the accused, a former Home Affairs official, worked with the syndicate in the processing of fraudulent passports. They face charges of fraud, contravention of the Identification Act, diverse contravention of the Immigration Act and corruption. The crimes are alleged to have taken place after business hours, in the evenings, over the weekends and public holidays. The NPA says the fraudulent passports were issued to undeserving foreign nationals. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
St. Parks says it's removed a religious group camping out on the mountain above Boys Drive near Muizenberg in Cape Town, where a fire recently erupted. Authorities believe the group was behind the runaway wildfire that started on the mountain on Sunday. Investigations into the cause of the blaze continue. St. Parks spokesperson JP Lowe says the group was fined for camping in a restricted area of Table Mountain National Park.
Religious groups are among the many park users who frequent TMNP to conduct recreational, cultural and religious activities. Some parks have initiated a study to understand cultural demands in the park. We have also held an initial workshop with religious groups to understand their needs and ways to avoid lighting up of fires.
In news making international headlines, Israel's military says it has struck dozens of targets in Tehran overnight, including what it calls a center for the research and development of Iran's nuclear weapons project. It has killed more than 200 Iranians since it started attacking their country based on unsubstantiated claims of a nuclear threat. Iran has fired back, killing more than 200 people in Israel. European foreign ministers will hold talks with their Iranian counterparts later today, hoping to reach a diplomatic solution to the war. And a U.S. appeals court has ruled that President Donald Trump could continue control of National Guard troops in Los Angeles over the objections of California Governor Gavin Newsom. The court says Trump's failure to issue the order directly through the governor of California does not limit his lawful authority to call up the National Guard. Judges say Trump was within his rights when he ordered 4,000 members of the National Guard to protect federal employees performing their duties and to also protect federal property. Trump deployed the soldiers in Los Angeles during demonstrations against immigration enforcement enforcement raids across the city. The deployment was the first time since 1965 that a U.S. president sent the National Guard over the wishes of a state governor. Gold is trading at $3,347.98 an ounce. The rand is at 18.01 to the dollar, 24.28 to the pound, 20.74 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $76.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic heading towards Bedford View, we've got delays on the N12 and the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange, while travelling on the N3 North. Delays between the Elands interchange and the Gilulis interchange. That's due to an earlier accident. And if you're travelling in the Boksburg area, some issues along the N17 East. This is just as you come out of Heidelberg Road. It's due to an accident scene. Please be on the lookout for that one and approach with care. If you want to avoid it, you can use the N12 East towards areas like Davidton as well as Benoni.
A fine Friday in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. 2 learners have been arrested in connection with the murder of a grade 11 pupil from a secondary school in Pretoria East.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. Walk for something greater in the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Get your tickets now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes past 11. It is the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. My name is Tshidi Madia, standing in for Clement. It's time now for adult radio. It's a relationship focus. I've never heard of the term micro cheating. That's what we're going to be talking about. So we often think about cheating as things like, oh, you're sleeping around or you're kissing somebody else. Well, there's other things that break trust. And that's the conversation we're going to be having now in just a sec. You can call in. You can ask questions, of course, as per usual.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
So if you are in a monogamous relationship, I think the lines are often quite clear or easy to distinguish. There are things that you will accept and things you won't accept. You won't accept your partner supposedly sleeping with somebody else or kissing another person. But have you ever thought about what it would be like if your partner goes out and leaves their ring at home? Have you thought about what it's like when your partner spends more time talking to somebody else on the phone and what that means? So this phrasing, micro cheating, from what I understand, falls in that. But to understand a little bit more, I'm joined in studio by Paula Quincy. Paula is a relationship and life coach. Paula, good afternoon, good morning still. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, City. Good to be back in the studio again.
Like I said, I've never heard the phrase micro cheating before, but when people speak about small breaches of trust that make a relationship difficult, I understand. How do we define it? How do we actually define micro cheating?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it's not a common term that's been used before. It's a term, so when we think of cheating, we think of the physical cheating, right? The sleeping around kind of thing. But as we evolve and more, we talk about these topics, it's those little things, whether intentionally done or unintentionally done, that leaves us questioning, like leaves a question mark hanging. Like, did that really happen? Am I reading too much into this? Is it really innocent, or is there something else there? And it kind of leaves us feeling a little bit uncomfortable. There's a level of discomfort associated with it.
There's a question of threshold then, because some things I think would be okay with some people, but they wouldn't. How does one gauge how that works and what that is? So if somebody's listening now and suspects that they could be experiencing somebody who's micro-cheating, how do they determine a threshold?
This is where couples need to have those, as I call them, courageous conversations or honest conversations in terms of boundaries and deal breakers and non-negotiables. So, we always talk about the obvious ones, infidelity, cheating, sleeping around, but we don't necessarily talk about those emotional micro-discretions, as you mentioned. So, for example, talking to someone and sharing intimate details about my relationship or my partner or where I'm at with someone else who is not my partner, so someone outside of the relationship, it breaches that intimate connection you have with your partner, and it starts breaching or eating away at the trust in your relationship because your partner's confiding in someone else about intimate details.
How frequently do they happen when you look at relationships of partners? How often do you see them experiencing these so-called micro cheating? How often does it happen?
I think it probably happens more often than we realize it because we don't necessarily sit down and reflect and think about it or question it or speak to our partners about it and share, like, this makes me feel uncomfortable or this doesn't sit well with me because of potentially coming across as being jealous or insecure or controlling, and that may not necessarily be the case.
And what does it look like? How does it manifest? We spoke about leaving a ring, spoke about having a greater connection with somebody else. What are the behaviors? If somebody's listening down, it's like, what would you say, yes, that could fall under the umbrella of micro cheating? What kind of behaviors do people need to look out for?
So some examples would be what perceives to be flirtatious, but it's dismissed or downplayed as innocent, being nice or being kind. So commenting on someone, whether it's on that person in person physically or on a social media perspective. So commenting on their posts. Emojis, heart-shaped emojis to someone that is not your partner. So a colleague, for example. Keeping in touch with exes, whether it's snooping and stalking them on social media or having conversations with them or other people for that matter that your partner's not aware of. It's being done behind their back. It's not being done in an open, honest, transparent way. Things like you're kind of ad hocly bumping into someone that just by chance happened, but it happens more than once. You know, it's kind of this ongoing, oh, I bumped into so-and-so today, and oh, I bumped into so-and-so and we had coffee. Yes, okay.
Where's this going?
You know? So it's little things like that. Your partner may be sitting on their phone and deleting messages. Like, why are you deleting messages if there's nothing to hide? Or quickly switching, to something else on your phone or on your laptop so that your partner can't see it. So if you're doing something behind your partner's back, or you're not being completely open and transparent about it, why?
Earlier you said that it could be intentional and unintentional. Is it a sign of something deeper that's going wrong in the relationship? And how do you, because let me go back, let me go a few steps back. Let's first distinguish how it can happen unintentionally, because everything you've just described now is quite intentional. When you lie and you go behind your partner's back and you delete messages, those are intentional acts. How can it happen unintentionally?
So some of those examples, let's say, for example, there is a colleague that you work quite closely with. You spend a lot of time, you're working on a project together. It could potentially be long hours as well. So sometimes you have to communicate after hours or you have to work late in the office together, right? So unintentionally, you end up sharing stuff about your life because you spend so much time together, right? So unintentionally, you're starting to form an emotional connection with this person that could blur the lines between colleagues. And
is it signs of a deeper problem in the relationship?
It can be. So it could be the relationship itself. There's something going on between you and your partner, that your partner is seeking their needs being met somewhere else. In other words, you and your partner don't have a strong emotional connection and emotional bond. Your partner's craving that, they're not getting it from you, so they seek it in other ways. Other ways could be sports, hobbies, work, online, that kind of thing, because you're not getting that connection and that recognition and that validation and that appreciation in your relationship. It could be with your own personal issues, your self issues, right? Self-esteem, self-worth, where you're seeking that outside as opposed to doing the own inner work in terms of your own personal growth and development.
I'm in conversation with Paula Quincy. We are discussing micro-cheating. If you've ever heard of that phenomenon, or you've got questions, you're worried that you might be committing a bit of micro-cheating, breaching the trust, the relationship, building intimacy with somebody else outside of the relationship, It's not just about physical cheating. We're having that conversation now. Have you ever experienced micro cheating, this particular phenomenon? Does your partner turn up the charm for a friend, for a co-worker? Do they consistently comment on photos? And this is one that you hear of so often, that they comment on photos of people they find attractive on social media. Does this behavior bother you? Are you engaging yourself in micro cheating? 011-883-0702. That's if you want to call in and weigh in on the topic, or 072-702-1702 if you want to give comment or question, and that also allows you to be anonymous on the WhatsApp line. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Of all the things you've seen, though, in your many long years at the Public Protector, this one seems to be a picture of extreme neglect. Would it be fair to say that the government officials meant to look after this did absolutely nothing at all?
Well, they did nothing at all, but they actually did something, and that something was to ensure that public money was paid out to a service provider without delivering on the mandate.
Advocate Koleka Taleka, Public Protector.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Need the right tools to run your small business? With Nedbank, you get the latest Visa, MasterCard, and Amex accepting card payments device delivered to you within 48 hours. Enjoy getting your payments straight into your Nedbank account on the same day. Plus, you could get 100% back on the purchase price of the device. Apply on the Nedbank Money app today. Join the bank that's best for your small business. Nedbank, licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The thrill of the chase comes with great rewards in the legendary Hollywood Bets Spinner Zonke Jackpot Race. Join the run, spin selected habanero slots for fun, and stand a chance to win a share of 3 million rand. Feel the rush in the race for riches when you bet 2 rand or more every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and you could jump with Jackpot Joy. Take on the challenge and discover endless opportunities to win big. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
3, 2, 1, rocket ignition. Launch your DIY dreams with Chamberlain. From 22 May to 1 June, Chamberlain's famous carnival promotion is back with incredible deals on all your building, painting and lifestyle needs. Like 20% off paint mixing and savings across tools, garden, homeware and more. Plus you get to meet the Deluxe dogs while enjoying free popcorn and candy floss. And stand a chance to win your share of 90,000 Rand in vouchers. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
The time to honor our past and step into a shared future as a team is here. Corporate hospitality and team entries for this year's 702 Walk the Talk are still open. Gather your colleagues together on Sunday, 27 July, to walk through the historic Freedom Park Heritage Site, past the national landmarks, and finish at the Union Buildings. To book hospitality, email hospitality@raceoffice.co.za. For corporate entries, visit primediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park Heritage Site in the city of Tshwane, where footsteps become footprints.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
All right, we are in conversation with relationship and life coach Paula Quincy. We're speaking about the phenomenon of micro-cheating. Do you like other people's social media posts behind your partner's back? Breaches of trust, not full on a physical relationship with somebody else outside of your relationship. You are breaching your partner's trust. That's what we are engaging on, trying to understand how to spot and to prevent micro-cheating in relationships. Paula, there are questions coming through. There are WhatsApps. I'm going to play you. Let me just actually start with the questions for you first. This question's coming in now from Anonymous. Anonymous says, I like taking responsibility before accusing someone. What if it's my insecurities? How do I not self-doubt myself that when my partner changes his tone when speaking to females, that's not flirting? I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that's, first of all, kudos to you in terms of your self-awareness and checking in with yourself first in terms of, am I overreacting and where is this coming from? Is it my own issue, my own baggage that's triggering me and my own insecurities? And then how do I speak to my partner about this? And how do I help my partner to understand that this triggers me and it makes me feel uncomfortable? And how can we find a way forward where he can support me working through my issues, that in a way that helps to maintain that trust and that respect within the relationship.
I've got a voice note for you. Let me play that for you now.
Morning, Tshidi, and your guest. This is Mandla from Pretoria. I would like to contribute to this topic. So, I think sometimes, like an individual would hide maybe like messages from colleagues and stuff, because that's probably how the environment is, like at work. But you knowing your person, that they'll take it like some type of way. So you kind of having like a balance in terms of you keeping like your colleagues happy, and also keeping things peaceful like at home. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Do you want to weigh in on that?
So I'm going to be daring and say it sounds like a bit of a cop-out there, because what work environment actually enables or enforces in a culture where you can behave in a way that may be deemed as inappropriate, that could have an impact on your well-being and your home environment? However, in saying that, I think it needs more context to the situation. So first of all, why do you feel the need to delete messages if it's colleagues and it's work related? And yes, at work we do joke around with colleagues and we do have fun and those kind of things, but if it's all above board and appropriate, then why the need to delete those messages? And if there's nothing to hide, why are you not being transparent with your partner? And if your partner is involved in your life and sharing your life with you, and they've been exposed to your work environment and your colleagues and they know them, then there should be a level of comfort there. But at the same time, it is up to you to manage that responsibility in terms of respect both ways.
I wonder if there's a thin line or a way to differentiate the idea of micro-cheating versus emotional cheating, because some of the issues that you flagged also sound kind of similar, that they could fall into that bracket of supposedly emotional cheating. How do we differentiate between the two, or are they the same thing?
Well, so that they are kind of very closely aligned in that they do blur into each other. So, for example, if you are focusing your attention on and giving your attention to someone else and making that a priority over your partner, right? That is a form of micro-cheating and emotional cheating, because your energy and your emotions are being steered away from your relationship and your partner, which should be your primary relationship and your priority relationship. But if you're giving all your attention to this other person, what is going on here that you feel the need to have this connection with this other person? And why is your partner being excluded?
There's always it's not a spectrum per se, but there's always a back and forth about the harm that physical cheating can cause, supposedly. The harm that something like this can cause. Is there a way to try and gauge whether this is more dangerous, more harmful, more damning to a partnership, the relationship and the individuals involved, than physical cheating? Is it easier to get over this once you've decided that actually these are not small things, that these are actual breaches of trust that I can't get over? How much easier is it to navigate the twin, supposedly to get over it?
Yeah. Look, it depends on the individual. I would say that probably the physical cheating would be a potential harder barrier to get over, because this is an intimate thing that you've shared with your partner. It's intimate space. It's physical intimacy that's being shared versus emotional intimacy. That doesn't necessarily say that the pain is not the same that we experience, and that a person can bounce back from both, because the impact of that is not only the trust gets eroded, it can impact your self-esteem and your self-worth, and question, what is wrong with you that your partner went and did this? Why couldn't they see your value or appreciate you or respect you? And it can impact you on a mental and emotional perspective.
I want to go back to the WhatsApp lines. Another message for you here. It's a little bit lengthy. I belong to a community group on WhatsApp that one of my husband's acquaintances also belongs to. A few weeks ago, he sent a message to me via WhatsApp, which I immediately showed my husband. My husband was naturally annoyed, even though there wasn't anything untoward about the message. His acquaintance then messaged me again, and I just ignored it, and once again told my husband about it. There was no reason for my husband not to know about it. So a thing like that where she's done nothing at all. Mm-hmm. She's communicated to the husband. The husband still gets annoyed as if she's done something. There's nothing untoward also about the message.
So I think, great for her in being transparent and open with her husband. It would be natural for a partner to get triggered in terms of what is going on here. Why is this person reaching out to my partner privately as opposed to in this community group if there's nothing untoward? And then secondly, for this partner to put this person in their place and go, I feel uncomfortable with this. I feel it's inappropriate. And I'd prefer if you didn't contact me and we kept it to a group environment.
And then what does one do if they suspect, Paula, that their partner might be involved? How do you bring it to the surface, confront it supposedly, without it becoming worse or worsening the situation or creating tension within the partnership?
So first of all, from a self point of view, is what is this triggering in you? What is the emotions that are being evoked in you? And where is that coming from? Is it baggage from past relationships and past experiences, which we all have, and it's okay to have those? And then how is that impacting you in terms of your behavior? So the self-awareness perspective. And then being able to have a conversation with your partner about this in a calm, respectful way, dealing with the facts around when this happens. This is how it makes me feel, and this is what I would prefer or need or like from you instead. And is your partner willing to see it from your side? And are they willing to, work with you going forward in terms of sitting down and both agreeing on these are our boundaries, these are our non-negotiables, and this is how we will handle situations going forward, and to keep that level of respect and trust going in our relationship.
Would it be wise to say to somebody, you must preempt that if you get into a relationship, you might have to face these kind of micro cheating, to set boundaries even before you experience it? Is it wise to then sit down and say, these are my boundaries. I don't want to go beyond here as a couple, even if it's not about the physical. If you do A, B, C, D, E, this is how I'll receive it.
Most definitely. Those big conversations and real conversations should happen very early on in a relationship to make sure that you are aligned and on the same page. You know where you stand with each other and you respect each other's boundaries and you respect your relationship. But over time, we grow and evolve as individuals and our relationship evolves. And so we need to constantly check in with each other. Are we still aligned and on the same page? And do we still feel the same way about things?
All right. Thank you so much. I've got a caller for you in Pretoria. TT, good morning.
It's Tshidi. How are you?
Very good. Go on. Go ahead. Paula's listening.
How does it feel not to speak about politics?
It's so awkward.
I think it all boils down to trust and to confidence. I think if you are confident as a person, and then there's going to be less tension. And there's going to be a less dealing with insecurities when you're in a relationship with someone. And when you communicate effectively, I mean, you don't need to be annoyed when you're raising something. You know what I mean? But also trust and believe that your person is going to make the right decisions. And you must also believe and know that if they want to do something untoward, they'll do it. Whether or not you get annoyed, whether or not you track them, whether or not you check on them. If they want to do it, they'll do it, and there's nothing you can do because they want to do it anyway. So just have trust and have confidence. Or you know what? what I'm doing for my partner, I know I'm doing my best. She knows what she's getting from me. I'm trying, and if she wants to do something, she should. But untoward or something I don't like, I'll communicate effectively. But there's no fight all the time, because as it is, we are different people, right? We are different as it is. So there's a lot of instances where we're going to step on each other's toes, a lot. But it's about how we deal with it.
Sure.
You know, if I turn around and I'm looking at someone else passing, and I'm looking at the way they dress because maybe I like their dress, and my girlfriend doesn't like it, then she tells me, babe, I don't like that, please. But it was intuition. It's not like I was doing anything wrong according to me. Then because she tells me, I don't do it anymore. But imagine she fights, now there's tension, it spoils the day, it spoils the week, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's my submission.
Thank you so much, Titi. She mustn't behave like a politician. Thank you so much, Titi. It's 11:30. I'm gonna allow Paula to weigh in on that after the headlines. He said it's about trust and communication. I suspect she might have a very similar view. It's 11:30. Mongezi Koko's got your headlines.
That's right. Thanks, Tshidi. Good morning. We start in the courts where the National Prosecuting Authority says it's nearing the end of its investigations into a Midrand couple linked to millions of child sexual abuse videos and photos. Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Megan Moodley are appearing before the Randburg Magistrates Court on charges of manufacturing and distributing over 10 million copies of child sexual abuse material. The pair were arrested earlier this year after the FBI uncovered several online sites allegedly owned by the couple. The state previously opposed their release on bail, citing the volume of material under investigation and insisting that releasing the pair would not only pose a risk to the case, but also threaten public peace and security. Staying with the courts, the judge presiding over the corruption case of former Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula is unhappy with the progress of the case following yet another postponement. Mapisa-Nqakula appeared at the Pretoria High Court this morning, where she faces 12 counts of corruption and one of money laundering. It is alleged as Defence Minister she solicited and received kickbacks amounting to 4.5 million rand from a defence contractor. And 2 learners have been arrested in connection with the murder of a grade 11 pupil at a high school in Pretoria East. The boy was allegedly stabbed by a fellow pupil outside the school premises earlier this week. The motive of the attack is not yet known. Now, those are the headlines. There's eyewitness news and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling in Boksburg, we've got heavy traffic volumes on the N17 East. That's between Harderberg Road and Padfontein Road. It's due to a major accident that's been reported along this route. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid as much as you can. Please try using alternative routes if you're heading towards areas like Benoni or Davidson. Maybe try using the N12 East. If you're traveling on the N12 West, though, towards Bedford View, queuing traffic between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. There's also slow-moving traffic on the N3 North between Van Buren Road and the Kilulis interchange. Heading towards Main Reef, be on the lookout for some issues along the M2 West between the Crown interchange and Main Reef Road. There's also slow-moving traffic on the N12 West heading towards the Protea Glen area, approaching the R558. We do know that the reason for that queue is due to the faulty traffic lights there. And traveling in Midrand, an accident on the N1 North that happened right near New Road. It's causing heavy traffic volumes coming out of Allendale Road. Please be on the lookout for that one and drive with care. Tembisa, we still have got those roadworks along the R21 North right near the Olifantsfontein off-ramp, and they are causing delays, so please try to be mindful and use alternative routes like the N1 North towards areas like the city of Tshwane. Otherwise, I'm Amo Ramela with this news traffic. Karabajali will have your next update from 12 o'clock.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Want to celebrate Women's Day in style? Then get your tickets as Grammy Award-winning singers Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas come together to celebrate the incredible women of Mzansi on 9 August, happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton. They'll be joined by South Africa's multi-award-winning singers, the incomparable Zonke, Sjava, and Vusi Nova. Get your tickets now on CompuTickets or webtickets.co.za, brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events, and 702.
Change arrives kicking and screaming. It's challenging, impatient, confusing. Change is a moment of peace. Change is life affirming. Change is growth. change is opportunity. We've always believed it's worth investing in. For over 3 decades, we have been committed to seeking out the best investment opportunities for you, wherever they may be. 91. Investing for a world of change. 91 is an authorized FSP.
When it comes to protecting your workforce, trust the workwear brand that has been protecting workers for over 150 years, Sweetall. Sweetall has overalls and uniform solutions for every industry, so your team is safe, comfortable, and ready to tackle any challenge. Visit our new Boksburg showroom, shop A1 Atlas Road, Westwood, Boksburg, or go to sweetall.com today. Sweetall, we never let you down. Superior protective workwear since 1871.
702 is heading to Freedom Park this Saturday, 21 June, and you're invited. Join us for a special broadcast with Gugs Mhlungu and Kenny Maestri as they take in the beauty, the views, and the stories of Freedom Park. It's the perfect family outing ahead of this year's 702 Walk the Talk, happening on Saturday, 27 July. To join weekend breakfast, Gugs Mhlungu and 702 Music with Kenny Maestri, email us at contact@702.co.za to reserve your spot. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
It's 11:35. We are hanging out with Paula Quincy, a relationship and life coach, discussing micro-cheating. So those are intentional things, those small breaches of trust in relationships. That's what we're talking about. How do you navigate that? How do you spot it? How do you prevent them from taking place? She says they can be intentional and unintentional. What have you spotted your partner doing? What are you concerned about? 011-883-0702. If you've got a question for Paula and you wanted to help you identify what it is, how to navigate it, 072-702-1702. That's for WhatsApps and voice notes. Paula, before the headlines with TT in Pretoria, and he spoke about how to handle these micro-cheating incidents as they arise. And he said, you've got to be calm. It's got to be a conversation. It cannot be hostile. But at the heart of it, he spoke a lot about trust and communication.
Definitely, and those are critical to any relationship, but especially in your romantic relationship, where things can often be assumed or misunderstood or presumed, right? And then secondly, most importantly, what he referred to is when there is conflict is how do we repair the rupture? How do we deal with that conflict and that pain or that gap that has been created and shifted, so that we repair that rupture, so that we move forward in a stronger place than before. And having these open, honest conversations in a calm way, in a positive way, a solution-orientated way, is what helps couples work through situations like this.
On the WhatsApp line, it says, my girlfriend used to work in an environment where she talks to many clients, so many clients, and then they're still calling. Well, she's used to talk to so many clients, and they're still calling sometimes, which irritates me. Is it advisable to ask her to change the phone numbers? Please advise.
So, yes, you could. I mean, that would be an extreme case, right? Because a phone number is a part of someone's identity, and especially if it's being used for work purposes, let alone personal purposes. I think in this case, it would be if your partner has left this job and they're no longer in this role, why are these customers still phoning her, number one? And number two, how is she dealing with that? Is she communicating that she's no longer there and passing them on to whoever should be the right contact that should be, servicing these clients? What is the situation in the context here, and how is she contributing to putting down a boundary and saying, I'm not in this position anymore, I'm not in this role, this is who's taken over, this is who you should be communicating with.
I want to go to the voice notes now. I think I've got a voice note for you. Abel?
Hi, Tshidi, great show. I've got a different view. Why is it easy for people to comply with companies' cybersecurity measures or conflict of interest, compliance as well? And when it comes to relationships, we don't see relationships in that way. I mean, I don't understand. I'm a male. I do understand, if I do certain things, that could jeopardize how, my wife can have see me or perceive me to be doing stuff. I just stay away from them. That's potential risk. Simon in Rudiport.
Thank you so much, Simon Rudeport. For him, it's very simple. Like, look, there are things that are potential risk I will not do because I know that will be a problem for my wife. Says people comply with company laws. Why not? Maybe answer that. Why can't we comply with the rules in a monogamous relationship?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And, that's where it boils down to values and boundaries and respect. So what is your value system? So from his value system, where he's coming from is about being ethical and being respectful and not even engaging or even thinking about crossing those lines. So there's a level of self-respect there as well as respect for my partner and my relationships. I'm not even going to do those things. And that's where it's important that couples have these conversations around, what are our relationship values? What are our boundaries? What is a non-negotiable? And what would I consider from my perspective as cheating or micro-cheating or untoward behavior? And let me hear where you're from and what it looks like in your world so that we can understand each other and we're aligned and on the same page.
Of the boundaries set, though, sometimes you listen to your partner and it feels like they're just exaggerating, that this is not about crossing a boundary. How do you then make that determination between this is something that's legitimate, that I should actually listen to, this person is authentically bothered, versus this person is exaggerating? Because sometimes in relationships, you'll hear people going, the ranting and raving is purely for attention's sake. It's not legitimate. It's not what I think it ought to be. It's not authentic. How do you differentiate and as you maneuver each other's boundaries?
So I think when there's sort of general statements that are made, for example, you're always talking to women, or you're always talking to men, or you're always working late, or you never do this. Those are generalized statements, right? Which can then be over-exaggerated because it may have happened once or twice or whatever it might be. So I think the most important thing is dealing with facts, right? When this particular thing happened or when you behaved or responded in this particular way. So stick to the facts. Stick to the emotions around and owning it. This is how I feel. This is how it made me feel. And this is how I responded and reacted as a result of that. But what I need from you, which is the reassurance, the safety, the trust, the respect, is I'd prefer it if you did this or did that, right? And if you're finding that you are stuck between the two and there's no way forward, that's when I would recommend you seek the help of a professional that can help you sit and work through these issues together to find a way forward that works for both of you.
I was going to ask you, how do couples build trust? Once it's been established that these breaches have happened, you have cheated in some shape or form, even if it is these breaches, how do couples go about rebuilding? Beyond, does it always have to end up with getting an outsider to assist, or is there a way the two of them can find tools, instruments, and ways to deal with this?
So you don't necessarily have to find an outsider to help you. It really depends on the dynamic and the emotional maturity of the couple to be able to sit down and work through these situations together. But research does show us that once trust has been breached, it can take up to 2 years to rebuild that trust from both sides. So the person that was the wrongdoer, let's say, they need to show up and be open and honest and transparent and show that there's nothing to hide. The person that is on the receiving end of it, they need to rebuild the trust in terms of giving the benefit of the doubt going forward. And both of them need to be able to, when there are triggers, to be able to sit down and talk through it and go, this has triggered me, this is how I'm feeling, and this is what I'm needing in this moment right now.
Like physical cheating, I imagine it's possible to recover from this, and it's possible to self-correct in behavior.
Correct. So, people don't wake up in the morning and decide, today I'm going to cheat on my partner and I'm going to find the first person that comes along and I'm going to have an affair. It doesn't work like that, right? It happens over time because there is something missing in your relationship. There are things that are not being met in the relationship that is causing a person to seek it externally, right? And yes, there are people that have gone through physical cheating and or emotional cheating and have worked through it together. They've done the hard work. They've rebuilt the trust and they've turned their relationship around 360 and come out of it stronger than before. So it is possible, but it does take hard work on both sides.
I'm going to go to the WhatsApp line. I've got one more WhatsApp for you.
Good day, 702 and the team. Yeah, also I would like to pass my regards to the lovely guest as well. Yeah, Tshidi. With all due respect, may you guys please assist me with this issue. The partner of mine, she has that tendency of posting her male, friends, and when I'm trying to express my feelings or my dissatisfaction on that, she always become obstinate. So may you guys please assist me with the ideas as to how I can deal with this thing. Yeah, this is anonymous in Q.
All right. Is Anonymous just jealous or is there more to it?
So, the fact that this is bothering him, I would want to look at, what kind of posting is she doing? How often is it an ongoing thing? Has he tried to sit down and talk to her about this before? Have they clearly established what is appropriate and inappropriate? And then I would try and do it again in terms of, this, and show real examples of this kind of post or this kind of behavior is making me feel like this. I feel disrespected. I feel that you don't value our relationship or value me. I wouldn't, impose this on you and do this to you out of respect to you in our relationship. This is what I would like going forward is what does look like appropriate behavior. So, commenting on, for example, wishing someone a happy birthday as opposed to, hey, you look amazing, kind of, So drawing very clear lines on what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with. And if they can't resolve it between themselves, then I would then seek professional help as to what is behind the behavior of the partner that is continuously doing this and what are the options for them going forward.
All right, I want to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to work towards, I think, trying to identify this within yourself as well. Let's take a quick break first.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings.
8 to midnight.
Floyd Shivambu is going to be going around asking for permission to start his party that he already knows he's going to start.
But he's not resigning.
He's got a precedent. Jacob Zuma has shown us how. Right. And he says that he respects it. Me and Floyd and you know that the party is going to be established. People asking the question, do we need another political party? It's like a deep question. No, we don't. We don't need another political party, but we're going to have more political parties because guys can make money out of it.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
Quiet, please.
The Wimbledon experience in Mzansi is back at Amex Tennis Town Monte Casino between 11 and 13 July 2025. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, and more than just strawberries and cream. Buy your tickets now using your Amex card on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets. Amex Tennis Town, the Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi advantage. Tennis is better with Amex.
If you knew the future, you'd be brave. Well, now you can be with Volvo's guaranteed future value. Get your EX30 from 9,999 per month, and after 48 months, return, upgrade, or keep. It's safe to be brave with Volvo. Based on 6.13% interest, 48-month term, 10% deposit, and 52% GFE. Initiation fee of 1,207.50 and monthly service fee is 69 Rand. Total cost of credit is 904,500. Finance officer subject to approval from Volvo Car Finance, a product of Westbank, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. NCRCP 20. T's and C's apply.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance. We insure your business's
future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So insure your businesses.
Financial security, BT.
With Bright today. Contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright. Approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP. 702.
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Clement Manyathela Show with myself, Tshidi Madia, standing in for Clement. I'll be with you till 12. It's the relationship focus. We're looking at micro-cheating. How can you spot it? And how can you go about preventing it in your relationship? If you've got questions, you've got you're curious about what is micro cheating and whether you're doing it. If you're liking those pictures on social media, feel free to call in and to ask if they're suspicious of that. Feel free to call in and ask on 011 883 0702 072 7021 702. We're hanging out with relationship and life coach Paula Quincy. Paula, there's a question of your own behavior in all of this. It's one thing to be on alert so often and to spot the behavior of somebody else. One of our callers, actually, one of the listeners, very early on said, I'd like to check myself before I even reach a conclusion. What does one need to look at to see whether or not they are breaching the trust, if they are committing these micro cheating? What must I look out for as an individual?
So I think, first of all, if this was being done to you by your partner, would you be okay with it? And if not, then why are you doing it? Okay, and checking in with yourself, what is the motivation or the drive behind this kind of behavior? What's going on for you? And reflecting on your own behavior in that. Sometimes we may not be aware of the impact our actions is having on someone else because we think it's completely innocent. So listen to the feedback that you're getting. If this is continuous feedback that you're getting in relationships, whether it's with friends, family members, and even romantic relationships, there's a pattern there, right? A behavioral pattern. So pay attention to feedback that you're getting and going, people keep telling me these things or saying these things. So maybe I need to kind of dig a little bit deeper here and go on a little journey in terms of what's going on here and reflecting on my own behavior. And then if I'm doing it intentionally, why am I doing it intentionally? What is it within me that feels I need to show up this way and behave in this way? That talks to my sense of self-worth, self-belief, self-esteem, my value system, my insecurities, etc., my relationship patterns, which is a personal growth journey I need to go on.
We keep talking about it in a monogamous space, so we speak about it in a romantic relationship sense. But you mentioning all these other ones just piqued my interest. Can you be accused of micro-cheating with your other kinds of relationships? Is in friendships? Can you locate it in your family relationships? How does that work?
Yeah, the context can be taken in. So let's use friendship circles or friendships as a relationship example. You share experiences with a bestie, a best friend. You confide in each other. There's a level of trust there. And you tell that person something that's deep and personal to you, only to find out that they've shared it with someone else and it's come back to you. That is a breach of trust. It is a breach of respect. It is a breach of confidentiality. This person confided in you because they trust you, your best friend. And it can feel as equal betrayal with a best friend as it can with a romantic partner. And I guess the same can happen in the workplace as well. A colleague tells you something, they share something with you, and you go and share it and blurt it out in other. And it's not just necessarily about personal details. It could also be sensitive information from a workplace perspective that's breaching that trust.
On the WhatsApp line to your guest, Tshidi, I need guidance on how to deal with a partner that totally ignores my concerns and would rather spend the whole night on gadgets. I've reached the point of not giving a damn anymore and will ignore this and do my own things because clearly he doesn't care about me and this hurts me deeply.
Yeah, so it sounds like there is a big disconnect in that relationship. And why does that partner feel that they would rather be connected to devices than to their partner? And if this person has tried to speak to their partner about it and they still completely disregard their partner, I would then say you as the individual need to go and get some help for yourself in terms of your own self-worth and why are you choosing to stay in a relationship with someone that is not making time for you, that does not see your value and does not want to connect with you, that rather connect with other things or other people or devices, and why are you choosing to stay in an environment where you're not being respected or seen or valued as a partner.
There's steps that one can take. Earlier we spoke about what do you need to look out for? And you said behavioral patterns. Are there immediate steps you suggest somebody must take when people say, actually, this is who you are very much complicit, this is the kind of person that you are? What would you say to that person? What are the first steps in correcting their behavior that they should take?
So I would go, so all of our baggage, we all have baggage, right?
All of us.
All of us. If you say you don't, I'm sorry,
You're
you're in denial. Okay. go back, it stems from childhood, whether we like it or not. That's where our emotional foundation is formed. It is then carried with throughout our upbringing into adulthood, which is where it plays out the most. Go on a personal growth journey, unpack all of those things that has contributed to your behavioral patterns, which essentially from childhood started off as survival skills. We learn to modify and adapt our behavior to survive in the environments we were exposed to, healthy or unhealthy. That's become our pattern. Our primary relationship patterns are formed from our adult caregivers that we were exposed to, most cases parents or whoever played an influential role in us. We then took on those skills and traits, positive and negative, and it's shaped who we become and our relationship blueprint. Go and unpack those things and how are they serving you positively or negatively? And then what are you choosing to do about it going forward in terms of your own personal growth and how you forge relationships with other people going forward, both romantic and other.
Just to also go back to, I'm going a few steps back again. How easily does micro-cheating lead to other forms of cheating?
It can, because those lines can become very blurred, and so sometimes you can overstep the mark where it can lead to physical cheating or affairs. But it doesn't always lead to that. But it leaves a question mark of hanging around.
We spoke about boundaries earlier on. I'm trying to wrap up now. We are unfortunately running out of time. If you still have questions for Paula, I'll try to squeeze them in for you. 072 702 1702. Earlier on, we spoke about the importance of setting boundaries as a way to manage this. You can even preempt even using boundaries. But what other tools can couples lean on?
So as your relationship, as you grow and evolve as an individual, you are going to shift and change. Your outlooks and views and perspectives are going to change, right? It's important that as you grow as individuals, you ensure that your relationship grows as well. You don't have to wait until your relationship is in trouble to equip yourself with knowledge and tools, right? Either at an individual level, so take yourself off on an individual development journey, read up, upskill yourself, do courses, go to workshops, seminars, go to professionals, whether it's a counselor, a therapist, a coach, or someone else, mentors, role models that you look up to. And then as a relationship, I always use the car analogy service. We take our car in for an annual service to make sure it's reliable and trustworthy and all of those kind of things. Why not do the same for our relationship? As we grow and evolve, let's upskill ourselves together.
That's it, right? It's like a car. Service yourself. There's a lot of homework there, but that's how you get yourself to the level that you want to be in the relationship. Paula, thank you so much. Thank you for your time and your insights. Very interesting. Like I said at the beginning, I had no idea what micro-cheating was up until now. Thank you so much. Paula Quincy is a relationship and life coach. Thank you, Paula.
In ancient Corinth, as Alexander the Great approached the philosopher Diogenes and offered to grant him any wish, Diogenes simply replied, "Stand a little out of my sun." At Plus 94 Research, we believe in illuminating the path to informed decisions. By removing the shadows of uncertainty, we let the light of data-driven insights shine through. Don't let assumptions cloud your vision. Step into the light of clarity. Plus 94 Research, the science of decision-making.
Need the right tools to run your small business? With Nedbank, you get the latest Visa, MasterCard, and Amex accepting card payments device delivered to you within 48 hours. Enjoy getting your payments straight into your Nedbank account on the same day. Plus, you could get 100% back on the purchase price of the device. Apply on the Nedbank Money app today. Join the bank that's the best for your small business. Nedbank, licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
In 50 meters, turn left. You missed the turn.
Okay, technically.
Recalculating.
But the new Haval H7 loves a detour. It's off-road capable yet refined and even a little wild.
A little wild?
Write your own story in the new Haval H7 from $6,999 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and book a test drive. Go with more. Go with the new GWM Haval H7.
In 50 meters, make a U-turn.
Oh, shush.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Coming up next, as you heard, is the midday report with Mandy. We haven't seen her in a really long time. Welcome back. Not the hair color.
Thank you very much. I've been doing the things.
Mandy, what's coming up on the show? Tell me about the things that are coming up on the midday report.
Oh, the things that are coming up on the midday report. It's Friday, hey? So we're going to test you today.
Sports and good things, guy. Good things only.
No, come on.
Sports. I mentioned sports today. What's going up on the show?
Sorry. The president speaks at the 30th anniversary of the Constitutional Court. He's been talking there today. The electricity ministers in Parliament. A really interesting new survey by the HSRC. It shows that South Africans believe the country is moving in the
wrong direction.
Yep.
No surprise.
We'll look at the early weather warning system in South Africa. And it's Friday, Tshidi.
Sports and good things only.
No.
What is it, Mandy?
Sports and good things too.
I'll get it right one day. Thank you so much. That's Mandy. Mandy's going to be with you between 12 and 1. But coming up next is your Eyewitness News Bulletin. Thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. It's 12 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Munki Zikoko. We begin with news just in. The Walter Sisulu University has confirmed the identity of a staff member shot and killed on its premises. Yesterday, police discovered the body of the university's Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Snethemba Mpambane, in the driver's seat of a stationary vehicle. We will have more on this story in our later bulletins. Let's turn to this now. 2 young boys have drowned in a water pond in Duduza, east of Johannesburg. The children, aged 10 and 11, were reported missing last night, with their bodies recovered this morning by emergency services. Ekurhuleni disaster and emergency management teams responded to reports of a possible drowning just after 8 a.m., finding clothing near the water's edge. The items were later confirmed to belong to the boys. Paramedics declared both children dead on the scene. Ekurhuleni EMS spokesperson William Mtladi has urged motorists to avoid the area.
So we're pleading with the motorists and with the other people using the road that now when they come to this Tonk meter road, just adjacent to the police station, to drive very much careful, as there are a lot of people and a lot of vehicles that are partaking in this incident.
The National Prosecuting Authority says it's nearing the end of its investigations into a Midrand couple linked to millions of child sexual abuse videos and photos. Darren Wilkin and his girlfriend Megan Moodley are appearing before the Randburg Magistrates Court on charges of manufacturing and distributing over 10 million copies of child sexual abuse material. The pair were arrested earlier this year after the FBI uncovered several online sites allegedly owned by the couple. The state previously opposed their release on bail, citing the volume of material under investigation and insisting that releasing the pair would not only pose a risk to the case but also threaten public peace and security. Jabuli Lembata has the story.
Previously, the court heard that investigators had to go through dozens of terabytes of data containing child sexual abuse materials. Authorities believe Darren Wilkin and Megan Moodley made millions of rands from their criminal operation. Today, State Prosecutor Elise Leroux told the court that the matter would be postponed to 16 September.
This will be for certain formalities to be dealt with by the defence, as well as for the state to finalise its investigations, which we are proud to say is nearing it.
The couple will remain in custody. Jabuli Lembata, Eyewitness News, Randburg Regional Court.
Staying with the courts, the judge presiding over the corruption case of former Defence Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula is unhappy with the progress of the case following yet another postponement. Mapisa-Nqakula appeared at the Pretoria High Court this morning, where she faces 12 counts of corruption and 1 of money laundering. It is alleged as Defence Minister she solicited and received kickbacks amounting to 4.5 million rand from a defence contractor. Thabiso Goba has more.
Judge Mokina Mosopa made a ruling in April that Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula lawyers should be given access to a Dekwa military police docket. This is the docket of the state's star witness, Nombasa Ntondo Ndlovu, where she is charged for corruption in a separate case. Ntondo Ndlovu's case was struck off the court roll due to persistent delays, leading to Mapisa-Nqakula's lawyers suspecting she may have made a quid pro quo deal with the state. Prosecutor Paul Lowe says since the docket is from another court, he cannot disclose it.
Now, I only received confirmation from my colleagues in the SECU yesterday afternoon that the docket is available to me as a member of the investigating director. But I cannot disclose it. It must formally happen via the Office of the National Director of Public Prosecution.
Judge Mosopa adjourned the matter to the 18th of August for a progress report on the disclosure process. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is yet to decide whether flight data and cockpit voice recorders from the Air India crash will be sent overseas for decoding analysis. Last Thursday, more than 200 people were killed when the aircraft crashed less than a minute after taking off from the airport in western India. The tragedy is considered the worst aviation disaster in a decade. The data in the plane's black boxes can be used to reconstruct the flight's final moments and determine the cause of the incident. The AAIB says the recorders have been badly damaged in the fire that engulfed the plane after the crash, making it difficult to extract the data, but there are plans in place to send the recorders to the US. Gold is trading at $3,356.71 an ounce. The rand is at 18.04 to the dollar, 24.33 to the pound, 20.78 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $78.85 a barrel.
Edenvale heading towards Bedfordview. Expect about a 30-minute delay on the R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Gululis interchange. There's also about a 20-minute delay in the Linwood area. That's on Linwood Road approaching Simon Vermeulen, and in the Mother City accident scene in Sea Point at Main Road and St. John's.
A fine Friday in Gauteng today. Temperatures will peak at highs of between 22 and 23. The top story in EWN, the Sawards News just in. The Walter Sisulu University has confirmed the identity of a staff member shot and killed on its premises.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Coming up on the show today, the President speaks at the 30th anniversary of the Constitutional Court. The Electricity Minister is in Parliament. A new survey by the HSRC shows South Africans believe the country is moving in the wrong direction. We'll look at the early weather warning systems in South Africa. And it's Friday, so sports and good things too. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Good to be with you today on this Friday. I'm watching President Cyril Ramaphosa speak to journalists along with the Chief Justice, Mandisa Maya, at the 30th birthday celebrations of the Constitutional Court. I'm going to go straight there and then I'll tell you about what else is coming up. And the sound is courtesy of Newsroom Africa.
Mr. President, we're obviously in a very tenuous time in sort of geopolitical history. We see that the President of the United States is mulling possibly joining Israel in their war on Iran. What is your perspective on that? I mean, I know you must be exhausted having come from the G7, but clearly this is a significant time, and what is your views on what could and should happen here?
Well, the world has become a very dangerous place now, with all these conflicts that are flaring up into the destruction of infrastructure and loss of life. And we want to continue calling on all actors that dialogue, peacemaking is the only way in which to solve problems. The disputes that arise in various parts of the country, including the dispute between Israel and Iran now, should be solved through dialogue. And we say that it must happen immediately without resorting to further airstrikes, to further bombs. Lives are being lost, and it is actually having a devastating blow on the economies of the world because there's now uncertainty and prices are beginning to rise. We are already suffering from price rises in our fuel because as the conflict is raging in that part of the world, fuel becomes more expensive, which we import at great cost. So we want the conflict to come to an end. Thank you.
Mr. President, are you looking at having a telephonic conversation with one of the heads of states from Israel or Iraq soon, anytime soon?
Well,
Mr. President, can I request, with due respect, the Chief Justice is the host. So she's now standing aside because of no longer within the bounds of the celebration. Now, being hosted as the